And Ms. Capel and Mr. Gillespie, before we start, I will introduce myself briefly, and I'm going to ask the two of you to do the same to the students, just so they know who they're dealing with. Just always done that, I think makes everyone a little more comfortable. And then, of course, as indicated, once that's done, and after I get done swearing everybody in, you can drop your video, and we'll see you at the end of the session, unless something happens and I have to get back in touch with you.
Judge Wheeler, have you confirmed that folks can hear you, sir?
Well, I'm assuming they can. Mr. Gillespie, you can hear me?
Yes, Your Honor, I can hear you.
Great. I tested the screen before we started, but yes.
All right, Judge, just want to make sure you have any technical problems. Again, I'll leave you be. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Oh, Eric, are you still with me?
Yeah, John, what's up?
Could you email me a copy of the team rosters, the PDF team rosters for team B as in boy and M as in Mary?
B and M. We'll get it done. Yep, I'll have it done, sir. You want an email, sir?
Yeah, have you got my new email address?
Maybe I better take it to make sure.
judge.wheeler@outlook.com.
All right, we'll have it done. Give me a few minutes, sir.
Thank you very much.
You bet. All righty, Judge Wheeler, I think those should be to you any moment now, but we wanted to know if you had determined if there were any conflicts yet, sir.
We don't have everybody on the screen yet. We've only got scattered people from either team.
Uh-oh. So are we missing just team members or scoring panelists?
I have both scoring panelists. I'm only missing team members, and let me see if I've got timekeepers yet. I've got 2 timekeepers.
All right, so you're just missing team members, sir?
Yeah, I'm missing about, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'm missing about half the team members.
Oh, goodness. All right, let's see if we can figure out what's gone wrong. Thank you.
Your Honor, the B team is all here.
Yes, Your Honor, that's what I was going to say as well.
And Ms. Flores, you were going to say what? I'm sorry, someone spoke over you there.
I was going to say the same thing as Molly said. The whole B team is here. We're just using the same computer.
Oh.
Sorry for not clarifying earlier.
No, not a problem at all. Okay, well, thank you for clarifying that. So maybe we do have everybody. Let me go ahead and check. let me please have all the screens activated. If I could, all the video screens. We may not have all the people on those screens because we have multiple people using other screens, but just so that I have everybody on camera who has a camera, including the timekeepers, if I could. I've got a Team M timekeeper that's still dark there. There we go. Okay. Thank you very much. My name is John Wheeler. I'm the presiding judge in this case. Just for reference, I was a district court judge for 14 plus years in this district, in the 18th in Arapahoe. Before that, I was a civil trial lawyer for 26 years. This case is coincidentally what I did for a living. This is in my wheelhouse, so I'm very, very familiar with the subjects. I'd like our two scoring panelists to introduce themselves briefly, just so that you know who you're dealing with. Ms. Capel, if you'd go first.
Sure. My name is Amy Capel. I have over 20 years of experience in the legal field. I started out as a legal assistant paralegal, and now I am the director of contracts, corporate secretary, and our ISO quality management system liaison at a geospatial company in Colorado Springs.
Thank you. And Mr. Capel, I'm sorry, Mr. Gillespie.
Hey, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Bud Gillespie. I'm a criminal investigator at Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office. Supplementary duties besides that, I guess I should say I've been a cop for approximately 12 years now. At Arapahoe County, my supplementary duties are the bomb squad. I'm a member of the 18th Judicial Critical Incident Response Team. I am a state certified law enforcement driving instructor, and along with some other supplementary duties.
Thank you very much for helping us out, sir.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. We're going to get started now. Shortly, I should have your team rosters. Judge White is going to be sending those over to me. Here we go. There we go. Hang on just a moment. I have to work off paper on these rosters rather than working off a screen. I just have too many screens open right now. So give me just a moment here, and I will print these off and then start back up again. And M.
I'm sorry, Judge Wheeler, I stepped out. Have you received that list yet by email? We sent it.
I did, and I'm printing it right now. Thank you very much. That really
And then,
helps.
sir, were there any conflicts I need to report for your judges, sir? Your panelists?
Ms. Capel and Mr. Gillespie, have you noticed on your roster sheets any conflicts, or on the screens right now, any conflicts that you have with students?
No, Your Honor.
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you, sir. Judge
Sounds
Wheeler,
sounds like we're clear.
yes, sir. When you're ready, you can begin, sir.
Thank you. Okay, who do I have? Let's see, I've got Team B as in boy, who is the plaintiff in this case. Who is lead counsel for Team B?
That would be me, Your Honor, Caroline Flores.
And I'm looking for you. Oh, there we go, up in the Ms. Flores.
Yes.
Okay, and for Team M, the defense, who is lead counsel?
That's me, Your Honor, Cindy Bouchard.
Ms. Bouchard, let's see, where are you here? Looking for you. Oh, here we go. Oh, it says on my list, it says team members not participating, and Ms. Bouchard, you're in that list. Obviously, you are participating. What are you going to be doing? Who are you going to be on this list? Because I have to update it.
Today, Your Honor, I am doing a direct examination of Miss Blake Doncourt and a cross-examination of Dr. Casey Rogers and preliminary matters.
Okay, so let's see. Blake Doncourt, I'm looking for, oh, here we go. Let's see. I'm seeing Blake Doncourt on the trial roster as the defense character. Who are you replacing? Do you know, Ms. Bouchard? That would have been on this list before. You have to unmute yourself.
I don't think I'm replacing anyone.
I just don't have your name as a participating attorney on this list that I have, which means I've got to find you here. Let's see.
Do you need me to send you another copy of our roster?
Oh, here we go. Wait a minute. Here's Blake Doncourt, and I've got, well, that might help me very much. Yes, if you could do that. If you have that roster, that would be great. And my email address is judge.wheeler@outlook.com.
Thank you, Your Honor. I'll send it to you right now.
Thank you very much. Okay, now as she is doing that, let's get moving here. We have a couple of preliminary matters that I want to talk about just so I make sure that we don't have a problem. We have no conflicts. How our teams, well, let me ask plaintiff first, B. How is team B, Ms. Flores, going to handle exhibits? Are the attorneys going to screen share? Are the timekeepers going to do that, or some other person going to do that for you? Or is there some agreement where they will not be screen shared at all?
Our timekeepers will be screen sharing the exhibits.
Great. How about for team M, the defense? And that is for, oh gosh, why didn't I circle your name here? And that is Ms. Bouchard. There we go. How is that going to be handled with your team?
The lawyers will be screen sharing for each other, Your Honor.
The attorneys will be, okay.
The attorneys.
Good. Timekeeper for team B and attorneys for team M. As for the timekeepers themselves, the timekeeper for team B, the plaintiff, how are you going to be posting those? Are you going to be doing visually, or are you going to do them on chat? Whoever our timekeeper is, timekeeper for B, looks like Molly Goodwin and Carolyn Watson. I don't have your screen open. There we go. How are you going to be posting your times? By chat or visually by sign? And you'll need to open up there we go.
By chat.
By chat, okay. And timekeeper for team M, how are you going to be doing that?
By chat, Your Honor.
By everybody by chat? Great, okay. And I just got Ms. Bouchard's email. Let me open it up real quick and see what I've got here. That looks great. Give me just a moment to print it. I'm sorry I have to work off paper on these things, but I just, too many screens open is too confusing for me.
And Your Honor, on the rosters, what might have been confusing is they've got both prosecution and defense. So for team B, it's pages 1 and 2 of the PDF, and for team M, it's pages 3 and 4 of the PDF.
Oh, I only got one page.
Yeah, so.
No, I mean, I only got one page on the defense side.
Yeah, so you may have been missing.
Yeah, Your Honor, I think I can post the rosters in the chat for you. So I can do that.
Will they be posted in the sense of something I can click on and open up, or?
I believe so. This is the first time I've tried it, so we'll see how it goes.
Okay, so I've got, oh, I see. Okay, I see.
Judge Wheeler, do you have what you need? What are you missing, sir?
Yes, I do. I think I do now, yes.
All right, thank you.
Okay. So I do have, now I have, I did not get 2 pages on Team M defense roster. Now I have them. So now I've got what I need. And yes, Ms. Bouchard, I see your name there prominently. So thank you very much. Okay. Give me a moment here to. All right. Ms. Flores, for the, let's call this case up and get going. Ms. Flores, for the plaintiff, do you have all of your attorneys present and ready to, and witnesses present and ready to go?
Yes, Your Honor. Maybe we introduce ourselves.
In just a moment. You're ready for trial?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, and Ms. Bouchard, do you have all of your attorneys and witnesses assembled?
Yes, Your Honor.
And are you ready for trial?
Yes, Your Honor.
Great. Ms. Flores, I will ask you to introduce yourself now and ask your attorneys and witnesses to do the same.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Your Honor, opposing counsel, members of the jury. My name is Caroline Flores. I'm an attorney. I will be conducting the direct for Dakota Weirs and crossing Blake Doncourt. I will also be doing the opening statement.
Thank you. And your second counsel?
Good morning, Your Honor, members of the jury and opposing counsel. My name is Zayn Maestas. Today I'll be conducting the closing. I'll be directing Carson Durst and doing the cross-examination for Skylar Weirs. My co-counsel now introduce himself.
Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honor, jury and opposing counsel. My name is Haven Wilson. I'm an attorney and I will be conducting the cross-examination for Dr. Devin Williams and directly examining Dr. Casey Rogers. Your Honor, may our witnesses introduce themselves?
Of course they may.
Good morning, Your Honor, opposing counsel, members of the jury. My name is Chloe Hills and I am Dakota Weirs.
Thank you.
Good morning, Your Honor, opposing counsel and members of the jury. My name is Emma Ryan and today I am Carson Durst.
Good morning, Your Honor, opposing counsel and members of the jury. My name is Jenna Kim and I am Dr. Casey Rogers.
Thank you very much. And Ms. Bouchard, if you would introduce yourself, passing off to your co-counsel and your witnesses.
Good day, Your Honor, ladies and gentlemen of the jury and opposing counsel. My name is Sydney Bouchard. I'm doing a direct examination of Ms. Blake Doncourt and a cross-examination of Dr. Casey Rogers.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Whoa.
Good morning, Your Honor. Today I'm doing the direct examination of Skylar Weirs, the cross-examination of Carson Durst, and the opening statement.
And this is Mr. Braun, correct? And Mr. Braun, that was you speaking. I just wanted to make sure I have the correct person on camera.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Good morning, Your Honor. My name is Sienna Kraft. I'll be doing the direct of Dr. Williams and the cross of Dakota Weirs. I will also be doing the closing statement.
Thank you very much. And your witnesses.
Hi, Your Honor. My name is Lee Waxter and I am Skylar Weirs.
Thank you.
Hello, Your Honor. My name is Avery Martin, but today I am Blake Doncourt.
Thank you. And
Hi, Your
finally,
Honor. My name is Margot Lively, and today I am Dr. Devin Williams.
thank you very much. Okay, as we move through this, through the witnesses and opening and closing, for opening and closing, I would like the attorney giving opening or closing to be on camera, live mic. Everybody else can be off, please. So we just have the one person on each time. As you do witnesses, we'll have, of course, two attorneys the attorney doing direct, and the attorney doing cross, and a witness. The witness mic, the direct attorney mic, and the cross-examination attorney mic will all be on. I would like to have, unless there's some great problem with feedback, external background noise, which I don't expect for the cross-examination, I'd like to have that microphone on so that if you have an objection, you can make it immediately and not have to, have the pause of having to turn your microphone on. If we have a problem, so be it, but we'll work on that as we go through. But that's the way I'd like to try it to begin with. You've heard all of these prefatory remarks by the court yesterday twice during your two trials, so I'll be very brief with them. As you know, although this is being live streamed to your families, your coaches, friends, no recordings may be made of this, no photographs may be made of this unless the Colorado Bar Association gives you permission. Also, for those people who are watching by live stream, remember that if you are not directly associated with either team B as in boy or M as in Martin, you may not watch this. There are some exceptions where families have more than one student on multiple teams, but that's pretty rare. If you do not have a direct connection to team B or team M, you may not watch this for competitive reasons. Team members are aware there will be no recesses with two exceptions. One is technical problems, which we had a lot of yesterday. And if we have a technical problem, time will stop. If I indicate time stops to the timekeepers, it will of course stop. Or if there is a medical emergency, I will indicate time will stop and we will deal with that. If there is a medical emergency or any problem of that type, please be sure to notify me immediately. Or if one of your associated team members notices something, let me know and we will stop and deal with it. If there are any disputes that arise inside or outside of the competition, we have rules to deal with those. Some of them I deal with, some of them are dealt with by the committee downtown, but you're all aware of that. So please be aware that's how disputes are addressed. Time considerations will be enforced strictly. If you do run over, meaning that you're in the middle of something and you want to finish it, well, you finish it at your peril, that a question or an answer that the scoring panelists may judge you down for. That's your decision on whether or not to continue with something you are in the process of giving when time runs out. If time runs out, I will, once you are finished, one way or another, I will not allow additional questions or additional answers. But it's your decision on whether to continue an answer or continue a question once time runs out. You may do it, but only at your own peril with the scoring panelists. I'm going to swear people in now in groups. I'd like to have all of the team members, everyone, timekeepers, everyone, witnesses on screen, and I will swear you in. You leave your microphones muted, but I do want everybody on screen so that I can see you. I'd like my timekeepers on screen as well, very briefly for this. First of all, team members, meaning attorneys, all you attorneys, please raise your right hand. You may not be on screen, but I have some of you on from each team, and I'll assume everyone has their right hand up. Team members, do you promise that the presentation you are about to give will faithfully and truthfully conform to the facts and rules of the mock trial competition? You may nod in assent. Thank you. Witnesses, hands down, witnesses up. Do you promise that the testimony you are about to give will faithfully and truthfully conform to your witness statements, that you will not add material facts or opinions which are not contained in the case problem, and that you will follow the rules and procedures of the mock trial competition? You may nod in assent. I see lots of nodding. Good. Finally, our scoring panelists, if you'd raise your right hands as well, do you promise to adjudicate the mock trial competition as fairly and objectively as possible in accordance with the facts, procedures, and rules of the mock trial competition? Thank you very much. Now, I want witnesses again. And what I do to speed things up a little bit, because we're already behind time, as you're aware, and this is I'm sure you understand from yesterday's trials, this is a long problem. This is a long case. It primarily has to do with the evidentiary issues, and we dive deep into those evidentiary issues. Time does not run for those objections, so the case goes long. To save a little time, roughly 8 to 10 minutes during the course of a single trial, rather than swearing in every witness as he or she comes to the stand, which is, of course, normal practice in person when we're doing this, I'm going to swear all the witnesses in right now. That way, all the attorney has to do is call you to the stand and you immediately begin testifying. So I'm going to ask all the witnesses, please raise your right hands. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under penalty of law? Let's see, Ms. Martin, your other right hand, I believe. That's all right. That happens about 50% of the time. It is embarrassing, but I wanted to correct it because it happens 50% of the time in the courtroom on the stand.
Sorry, Your Honor.
Not a problem. I'll start over again. Do you solemnly swear or affirm under penalty of law that the testimony you're about to give today in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And you may nod in assent. Thank you very much. Okay, everybody can go off screen now. I'd like lead counsel on screen. Ms. Flores, do you have anything that we need to address before we start?
Yes, Your Honor, I have some preliminary matters to address. One, we request that the stipulated facts be admitted into evidence. Second, we ask that the witnesses...
Let me just deal with them as you go, and they are assumed that they are read to the jury, and you may go forward. Yes.
Thank you, Your Honor. Second, we ask that the witnesses be considered constructively sequestered.
Constructively sequestered, yes. Thank you.
Third, we ask that omitted exhibits constructively remain on the witness stand for ease of reference.
Yes, you may publish them. You may post them for identification. I am instructing the scoring panelists not to consider them until I admit them, and then they will be considered admitted and posted formally. Thank you.
And finally, we might have classroom announcements in the middle of this trial. We ask that our team be allowed to pause the time and mute ourselves because the announcements might reveal our team's identity.
Okay, I'm not quite sure what you mean, but that sounds reasonable.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Anything else?
No, Your Honor, that will be all.
Thank you. And Ms. Bouchard, anything for the defense?
Yes, Your Honor. The defense asked to refer to Dakota and Skylar Weirs by their first names because they share the same last name to avoid confusion.
Good point. Thank you. Yes.
The defense asked that all counsel are permitted to perform redirect.
Yes, you'll be allowed direct, cross, redirect, and recross. Now, of course, if there is no redirect, there will be no recross.
And finally, the defense would like to ask permission to screen share exhibits before they are admitted and entered.
Yes, that's the Ms. Flores asked that, and that is granted. Yes.
My apologies. Thank you.
Okay. We're all ready to go. I've got opening statement for the plaintiff. Ms. Flores, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. May it please the court. Your Honor, opposing counsel, members of the jury, this is a case about corporations behaving badly. Nothing good ever comes out of hurry and frustration, only misery. Actions always have consequences. Lush Fertilizer was rushed, If Lush followed its own signs, we wouldn't be here today. Good morning. My name is Caroline Flores, and along with my co-counsel, Haven Wilson and Zain Maestas, we represent the plaintiff, Dakota Weirs. Ms. Dakota Weirs is here today to fight for what Lush Fertilizer chose to do. Lush decided to bring a toxin to the market, which was, according to Ms. Blake Doncourt, had little to no risk. And yet, this little to no risk toxin completely ruined the life of a prominent young woman, a woman who could have been your cousin, your sister, or even your own daughter. It is our job to prove to you, by a preponderance of the evidence, that there was a lack of care by Lush in the marketing their product, and that Lush was negligent by making a rash decision by bringing this product to the market. You will first hear from Ms. Dakota Weirs. This is a prominent young woman who had everything going for her. She was set to go to the Juilliard School. Ms. Dakota Weirs' piano skills were excellent. That was her whole life, which has been robbed from her. Her career was cut off early. Unfortunately, Ms. Dakota Weirs developed non-Hodgkin lymphoma after her encounter with Lush Fertilizer. This is no coincidence. Non-Hodgkin lymphoma is not genetically passed from family. This is an environmental factor because Ms. Dakota Weirs came in contact with Drufo. It is clear that Lush Fertilizer puts profit over people. Lush knew its product was dangerous. Next, Carson Durst is a former researcher and employee at Lush Fertilizer. And she will tell you how Lush tested Drufo and found potential carcinogenic qualities that go way back in 2003. Carson Durst will describe how Lush Fertilizer kept a threatening product in the market. Lush knew its product again was dangerous. Finally, we will have Dr. Casey Rogers, who will tell you about their study on Drufo and discovered that people who were regularly exposed to Drufo were 10 times more likely to be diagnosed with cancer than those who were never exposed to Drufo. We expect Lush Fertilizer will call 3 witnesses as well. Blake Doncourt is one of them. The evidence will show that Blake Doncourt is simply only concerned with how much money she could save. Let's keep this in mind. There was an opportunity, many opportunities, to reduce any risk at all, but according to Blake Doncourt, it was simply too expensive. Dakota Weirs has a twin sister, Skylar Weirs. Now, Skylar Weirs claims to be an expert in modern agritech. Please keep in mind that Skylar Weirs did not attend college and never worked for an agritech company. Skylar Weirs is an example of an unaccomplished individual who is here today to testify against their own twin sister. What is to say about this individual? Please note that she is here to not support their twin sister. She is here today to use her educated state of mind to testify against her own sister. Finally, Dr. Devin Williams will try to testify today that Drufo is safe and that the scientific data is not accurate. Dr. Williams will tell you today that she has never authored any publications regarding Drufo, even though she has worked for Lush for over 10 years. We are confident that after hearing our case, you will return a verdict in favor of Ms. Dakota Weirs. We will ask you to compensate Dakota for her loss of enjoyment of life, for her past, current, and future pain and suffering, and for the reduced lifespan that she will experience. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Braun, opening statement for the defense.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor and members of the jury, Dakota Weirs contracting non-Hodgkin's lymphoma is a tragedy. But I'm going to ask that you set aside your sympathy for the moment. And let's talk about facts, because as you will see, it would be a miscarriage of justice to blame Lush Fertilizer for Dakota's condition. First, let's talk about the revolutionary product that Lush developed, Drufo. Lush is a conscientious company that concerns itself mightily with the environment. It has developed a product that is at the heart of this case in order to protect the environment and also dedicates at least 10% of its profits to the United Nations. Its product, Drufo, is a bonding agent added to fertilizers, which decreases the frequency of application and in turn is better for the environment. There is no verified link between Lush Fertilizer's innovative product, Drufo, and cancer. In fact, Lush followed all federal regulations when developing its product. The defense will call 3 witnesses. The first 2 will speak to how safe and important Lush's development of fertilizer containing Drufo is. First, Skylar Weirs, who researched Drufo extensively, will testify that there are no studies that link Drufo to cancer, and, when used properly, is just as safe, if not safer, than every other fertilizer. Next, you will hear from our expert, Dr. Devin Williams. She will explain why the plaintiff's expert research is fundamentally flawed and that the credible researchers at Lush have never found any increase in cancer linked to Drufo when compared to other fertilizers. Simply, Dakota Weirs' cancer was not caused by Lush's products. As you sit here today, we also ask that you pay attention to Dakota Weirs' own actions, because all actions have consequences. You will learn that all fertilizers contain pesticides, which by definition are poison and designed to kill weeds. Because of the inherent risk in using poisons, you will hear from Blake Doncourt about Lush's safety recommendations, advising users to don protective gear such as masks, long sleeves, and long pants. She will testify how responsible a company Lush is and that they reasonably expected any users of their products to follow the safety recommendations on their labels. At the end of this case, the judge will instruct you the law and the evidence you will hear that Lush Fertilizer cannot be held responsible for when people misuse their products. Dakota, sadly, chose not to wear any protective clothing, despite always being directed to by her own employer. Dakota used numerous fertilizers at her after-school job, in addition to Lush's, and in the face of warnings on every single label of every fertilizer she used, she still chose not to protect herself. We are confident that after you've heard the defense's case, you will agree with us that while Dakota Weirs' condition is tragic, Lush Fertilizer cannot be held liable. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. And Ms. Flores, who will our first witness be?
Your Honor, we would like to call Ms. Dakota Weirs to the stand.
And you are going to direct that witness according to my list, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
And I indicate that Ms. Kraft will be crossing, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Okay, Ms. Flores, you may call your witness.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And call her right to the stand.
Yes, sorry. We would like to call Ms. Dakota Weirs to the stand.
And Ms. Weirs, you have been sworn already. Ms. Flores, you may begin.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning. My name is Caroline Flores. Could you please state your full name and spell your last name for the record?
Dakota Weirs, W-E-I-R-S.
Dakota, why are you here?
I'm here because I'm suing Lush Fertilizer for the lack of precautions on the fertilizer.
How old are you?
I'm 20 years old.
Have you ever had a job?
Yes. I worked at Haven Landscaping.
For how long?
Several years.
What did you like about working there?
I liked working outdoors and like working with my hands.
Do you still work there?
Not anymore, no.
Why?
I developed symptoms of non-Hodgkin lymphoma and I wasn't able to work anymore.
Did you ever work with chemicals?
Yes.
Were you aware of the ingredients listed in the Lush fertilizer?
At the time I was not, but now that I've done my research, I am.
Would you recognize the label of Lush fertilizer?
Yes.
Your Honor, I am showing opposing counsel has been marked as Exhibit 1 for identification. Permission to show the exhibit to the witness.
Yes, you may, and it is identified as Exhibit 1 for identification.
Yes. Dakota, can you tell us what this is?
This is the labeling on the Lush fertilizer.
How did you come to see this?
As soon as I saw the news about Lush fertilizer and how it's possibly carcinogenic, I called my boss or my former boss, and they sent me over a picture of the labeling.
Is this accurate?
Yes,
Is this complete?
it is.
Your Honor, we move to enter Exhibit 1 into evidence. Its authenticity has been stipulated and its accuracy has been shown.
Ms. Kraft, any objection to Exhibit 1?
Objection for authentication.
And Ms. Flores, as to the identification by the witness or the authentication by this witness of this exhibit, what's your response?
My response is that I'm just only trying to establish and base foundation on why Mr. Dakota Weirs is close to this, and it has to be authenticated because I would like to continue and furthermore ask questions for Dakota Weirs and talk about it later as well.
Ms. Kraft?
Defense fails to see how Dakota could possibly remember a label that was on the packaging of a product that she used 6 years ago. And she also did not look at the label, as she stated, that she didn't know what ingredients were inside of the product.
All right, I'm going to overrule the objection. The fact that it would be a different circumstance if the witness indicated that I saw this before I thought it was important, before I had a health problem, and now I remember it. That would be a different circumstance. But here, the witness testified that after she had a problem, she asked her employer to send her a copy, and the employer, Lush, sent the copy. So that, in the eyes of the court, authenticates this document. It came directly at the plaintiff's request from the defendant. So objection overruled. Ms. Flores, you may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Dakota Weirs, I'd like to invite your attention to one of the hazards contained on that. What did the product come in?
It came in aerosol and pellet form.
Did you ever have any eye irritation as a result of using this product?
Not particularly, only the symptoms of non-Hodgkin lymphoma, for example, chest pains, swollen lymph nodes, fatigue, rapid weight loss.
Please look at the section where it says user safety recommendations. Do you see that on the warning?
Yes, I do.
Would you please read the paragraph following user safety recommendations?
As with any spray fertilizer, utilize protective clothing that covers exposed skin. Use of a respirator or N95 face mask is recommended. Follow manufacturer's instructions for cleaning/maintaining personal protective equipment.
So you were told to wear protective clothing when you were using the pellets, right?
Not while using the pellets, no.
And with these symptoms that you experienced, how do they affect your daily life?
Well, honestly, at this point, I can't do anything anymore. I can't participate in any of my daily actions.
Were you an active member of your community?
Yes, I was. I volunteered a lot at shelters because I like to help out the disadvantaged.
Objection, Your Honor. Relevance.
Ms. Flores, the relevance of that testimony?
Your Honor, this is relevant because I'm trying to show how Mr. Dakota Weirs having non-Hodgkin lymphoma is no longer able to participate in any activities, and also showing how this product and its use is really life-changing, and the defense claims that it is not dangerous.
Ms. Kraft, why is this not relevant?
I just feel, what? It's just like, I stand on my objection.
Objection is withdrawn. Ms. Flores, you may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Dakota, how was school?
And let's take Exhibit 1 down if we could.
Yes.
Thank you.
For me, school was really well. I was elected to be student body president, and I was a part of National Honor Society.
Did you have any plans after high school?
Yes, I actually got a full ride scholarship to Juilliard for my piano skills.
Could you tell me more about the Juilliard School?
Well, I've been playing piano since I was really little, but I really got into it when I turned 7 and my grandfather passed away because it was the only thing that made me feel closer with him.
Let's move on. Do you know what Drufo is?
I do now, yes.
Why do you believe Drufo is the cause of your illness?
I have a twin sister, Skylar Weirs, and me and her grew up together, and we grew up in the same environment and participated in almost the exact same activities, except for the fact that Skylar.
Objection,
And the objection is,
testimony by lay witness. Like it's not an expert testimony.
opinion testimony by a lay witness.
Yeah,
Ms.
yeah.
Flores.
Your Honor, under Rule 701, a late witness that may present an opinion based on her rational perception when it is helpful to understand the witness's testimony or determine a fact and issue and is not based on scientific knowledge or skill.
Ms. Kraft.
I stand on my objection.
Ms. Flores, why is this not based on scientific knowledge? Why is this not an expert opinion if she believes the disease is caused by the product?
Because my client is sick, she has non-Hodgkin lymphoma, and she has it after encountering and using Drufo.
All right, because the initial question was based on what her opinion is, based on what she has been told by third parties, not that third party testimony is not being offered here, only her opinion about it. And I'm going to allow that as lay opinion. It may be refuted by expert opinion, but I'm going to allow it. So objection overruled. Ms. Flores, I believe the question, I can't remember if the question's been answered or not.
I will ask the question again, Your Honor.
I'm sorry, you may re-ask it if you wish.
Thank you, Your Honor. Why do you believe Drufo is the cause of your illness?
I have a twin sister, Skylar Weirs, and me and her grew up together and we grew up in the same environment. And so we participated in almost the exact same activities, except for the fact that Skylar is allergic to grass. And so Skylar never took the job at Haven Landscaping with me. And so I was the only twin to be in contact with Drufo.
Now that the answer has been given, I reaffirm my decision. That was not expert testimony. That was based on her own experience. Ms. Flores, you may continue with other questions.
Thank you, Your Honor. Have you received any medical treatment?
Yes, I have.
Can you give us an idea on what the medical bills are?
Quite big medical bills. I mean, for any cancer treatment, it's pretty big medical bills.
How have you been handling them?
My father has been paying for them.
Has that caused any problems in the family?
Yes, my twin Skyla is pretty resentful because of it.
Objection, Your Honor, hearsay.
Ms. Flores.
Your Honor, this goes into character. I'm just trying to put out the family dynamic on Dakota and Skylar.
As long as you can lay a foundation for her belief that there is resentment, I'll allow the testimony, but there has to be foundation. She can't just be guessing about it.
Yes, Your Honor. All right. May I continue asking?
Yes, you may.
Thank you. So, Ms. Dakota Weirs, what did you do right away after learning the news concerning Lush Fertilizer?
Right, hang on just a moment. Are you going to lay a foundation, or should I? Because if you don't, I will strike that answer. If she just says Skylar is jealous, I'm not going to allow that. If there's some objective fact as to why she believes that, I will allow it. So up to you.
All right, Your Honor. I believe I have a question to lay foundation on that. So may I move on to?
Right, I will strike that answer about Skylar for this time. The objection is sustained. Go right ahead.
So, Ms. Dakota Weirs, what did you do right away after learning the news concerning Lush fertilizer?
As soon as I found out about the news, I called my former boss to warn them about the possibility of it being carcinogenic.
Do you believe Lush fertilizer failed to adequately warn its users of the dangers of this product?
Yes, on the labeling, the only hazard and caution was for eye irritation.
Were you told to wear protective clothing by Haven Landscaping?
Yes.
And did you?
No, it was never enforced and none of my other workers did, and they never provided any protective clothing.
Do you know if Lush fertilizer produces a product in a different country?
Yes, I believe they do.
What have you learned?
I've learned that they produce a fertilizer without Drufo in Canada, many European countries, and I believe some African countries.
What, if anything, do you hope to accomplish with this lawsuit?
Honestly, I just I hope for Lush fertilizer to create or enforce the protective clothing, and also to caution their users of possible carcinogens, because I don't want anyone to go through what I had to.
No further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you. And Ms. Kraft, cross-exam.
Yes, Your Honor. May I begin?
Yes, you may.
Okay. Ms. Weirs, we want you to know that we are so sorry for your suffering and that you are feeling unwell today. So you worked at Haven Landscaping, correct?
Yes, I did.
And you did so since you were 14?
Yes.
Since you were so young, your main job was spreading chemicals and fertilizers.
Yeah.
Okay, and you acknowledge that your boss always told you to wear protective clothing while working with fertilizers and other chemicals?
Yes, but there were no repercussions if we didn't.
Okay, so that's a yes. Now this protective clothing consisted of long sleeves, long pants, gloves, and a mask.
That was never provided.
Okay, but you didn't wear long sleeves, did you?
No, I did not.
And you didn't wear long pants?
No, I did not.
You didn't wear gloves?
No.
And you didn't wear any form of a mask?
Neither did any of my coworkers.
So that's a no. The reason you didn't wear long sleeves, long pants, gloves, and a mask was that it was summer and it was too hot.
The working conditions were very difficult to work in.
Okay. When you were young, you listened to your parents, correct?
Yes, I did.
You listened to your teachers?
Yeah.
You listened to your piano teacher since you began lessons at 7.
Yes, I did.
Yet you couldn't listen and refused to listen to your boss?
The only caution was eye irritation. I wasn't particularly worried about eye irritation.
But you did not listen to your boss?
Not about eye irritation, no, I did not.
So that's a no. You also stated that any other fertilizer and chemicals that Haven used often had some sort of warning on the package.
Yes, I did.
Some instructed masks or eye coverings, others instructed that it be used outdoors, right?
Yeah.
But you worked with these fertilizers both inside and outside without a mask or eye protection or any other sort of protective gear.
As I established earlier, none of my coworkers did, and it was not enforced.
You could have done this yourself, correct?
Correct, but again, I wasn't completely terrified of eye irritation.
Okay, so in the end, you did not follow Lush's safety recommendations or any other safety recommendations, correct?
Correct, not for eye irritation.
Okay, so no further questions, Your Honor.
Ms. Flores, redirect.
No, Your Honor.
Thank you. Without redirect, of course, there is no recross. Ms. Weirs, you are excused. Thank you very much for your testimony.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And we will now have who is the next witness for the plaintiff?
Plaintiff would like to call Carson Durst to the stand.
Okay, and give me just a moment here. Is this Mr. Mastes? No,
Yes,
Mr. Flores.
this is Maestas. Give me a moment to change my name, please.
Zane Maestas, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, good. I just want to make sure I have the right person on the right. Give me just a moment here. And Carson Durst will be on the stand, and we will have Mr. Braun, you are cross-examining, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Good. Give me just a moment. There we go. Okay, and Mr. Maestas, you may call your witness.
Hello, my name is Zane Maestas. Please say your name and spell your last name.
My name is Carson Durst, D-U-R-S-T.
And Ms. Durst, you have been sworn. Mr. Maestas, you may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. Did you go to college?
I did.
What did you do after college?
After I graduated from Arizona State University, I was immediately hired as an intern for Lush Fertilizer.
Let me quickly go back to college. Where did you go to college?
I went to Arizona State University.
And what degree did you get?
I got a bachelor's in science of chemical engineering.
When did you start working for Lush Fertilizer?
In June of 2003.
At this time, did you know the Doncourts?
I did. I had grown up with them as a close family.
How was your relationship to Blake Doncourt before joining the company?
Blake Doncourt was like a father to me.
Did you receive any promotions at the company?
I did. After about roughly 3 months, I was promoted to a full-time engineer.
And as an engineer, what did you do within the company?
I was a product development engineer, meaning that I was tasked with looking into a specific compound in Drufo.
And so you mentioned Drufo, correct?
I did.
How good is your knowledge of Drufo?
I would say I'm very knowledgeable on the topic.
What is Drufo?
Drufo is a unique chemical compound that bonds the fertilizer.
Did you conduct any studies regarding Drufo?
I did. I was a part of the first in-house study of Drufo.
And what did you find within your studies?
In my studies, I was tasked to research. And one thing that really stuck out to me in my research was a study from England, finding that it may be carcinogenic in rats.
And so what is important about it being carcinogenic in rats?
This is very important because rats are used for testing many things that would be unethical to test on humans, and rats and humans are physiologically similar enough that it could potentially be a carcinogen in humans as well.
And what did you record these findings?
I did. They were kept in a notebook.
And when did you record these findings?
In 2003 during my research.
And could you please elaborate on how the notebook system works?
This notebook system started with me researching and collecting data. Soon afterwards, I would submit my findings to my superior, Jerry Langley, and they would then compile it into a larger findings, a compilation of mine and my coworkers.
Did you ever see anything that would have shown that Jerry Langley saw your findings?
Yes, soon after I had submitted my findings, I received an email from Jerry Langley.
Please let the record reflect that I am showing to opposing counsel what has previously been marked as Exhibit 4 for identification.
So noted for identification. You may post that.
Is it appearing on the screen for your honor?
Not yet. There we go. Oh, that's Exhibit 1. There we go, Exhibit 2. Oh, Exhibit 3, sorry.
I meant for Exhibit 4.
Okay, now we have Exhibit 4, the email.
Do you recognize this document?
I do.
What is this document?
This is an email that was sent out to me and many of my coworkers from Jerry Langley.
How do you know this is from the defendant?
Jerry Langley's name is clearly at the top. It has been dated, it's been recorded, and it's completely accurate.
Please take a close look at this and let the jury know. Does this document fairly and accurately reflect the note and the condition it was in when you received it?
It does.
Your Honor, at this time, the prosecution requests the document previously marked as Exhibit 4 for identification be entered into evidence. Its authenticity and its accuracy has been shown.
Mr. Braun, any objection to Exhibit 4?
Yes, Your Honor, on the basis of hearsay.
Okay, and Mr. Maestas, as to hearsay.
Your Honor, this is a statement of a party opponent, meaning that it is an exception to hearsay.
Mr. Braun,
Jerry Langley is not a party opponent in this case.
I'm going to overrule the objection. Mr. Langley apparently is an employee of this company. And in this context of a group email making this disclosure, this decision, these employees then would be assumed to represent the company's position. So I hold that he is a party. This is a party statement, and it is not hearsay. Mr. Maestas, you may proceed. It
Thank
is
you.
admitted.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Durst, please read the second paragraph of the email.
Following our lab's June Drufo study, concerns have arisen regarding generalized findings of potential carcinogenic qualities identified in samples produced during a period early in the year. So we are reinitiating the study in the coming weeks with fresh product samples. Development engineers and lab techs are also invited to participate in briefings by senior management on target market positions and economic strategies planned for Drufo as the study refresh proceeds.
How do you take that?
Clearly, they are addressing an issue that Drufo may be carcinogenic, so they recognize the issue.
And you mentioned a second study within
Yes.
the email. What happened after the second study?
I was not a part of the second study, but I was called to a meeting to brief us on their findings.
What happened at this meeting?
In this meeting, it was a meeting with me, some of my coworkers from the first study, and many higher ups in the company. And there was one specific scientist who brought up a concern that Drufo may not only be carcinogenic, but that it may also be directly
Objection
linked.
hearsay.
And we'll address that in a moment. It sounds as though we're off Exhibit 4, so please, yeah, there we go. And now the objection that what was said at that meeting is hearsay, Mr. Maestas.
Your Honor, this statement is not offered for the truth of the matter asserted. It is offered for the effect on the listener.
And Mr. Braun.
Your Honor, this is clearly being offered for the truth of the matter asserted.
I agree with Mr. Maestas. The witness is merely reporting what was said. Whether or not it is important in another context, that's how it's being offered. So it is not hearsay, not being offered for its truth by this witness. Objection overruled. Mr. Maestas, you may proceed.
I will re-ask the question. What happened at the meeting?
Like I said, it was a meeting with me, my coworkers, many higher ups in the company. Alex Monroe was there, my superior Jerry Langley was there. And as I was saying, one scientist brought up their concern that Drufo may not only be carcinogenic, but may be directly linked to non-Hodgkin lymphoma.
Did any of the higher ups have anything to say?
Yes, Alex Monroe said that we should keep it within the walls.
When did this meeting happen?
January of 2004 or near that time.
What did Mr. Doncourt do after that?
I brought my concerns to Blake Doncourt and he dismissed them.
Elaborate on how you took this dismissal.
I felt betrayed. Blake Doncourt is a mature adult who is supposed to care and recognize his employees. And I felt unwanted and I felt not listened to or respected.
What do you feel caused this change?
The only thing I could think of in my experience with Blake Doncourt is that I brought up that it may be carcinogenic, and it didn't seem, that's when his demeanor seemed to change towards me.
What did you think after your meeting with Mr. Doncourt about the company?
The company did not seem like a place I wanted to work, and I realized I had no future there.
What did you do next?
I began looking for jobs.
Did you find a job anywhere?
I did. I found a job with Terrace Greenery.
And when did you start working at Terrace Greenery?
In 2006.
While at Lush, did you ever hear of baking the fertilizer?
I did. It was brought up as a recommendation, but not a requirement.
And when was this recommendation brought up?
It was after the second Drufo study.
Was it in a report or where did you find it?
This was in a report that was sent out.
What is the importance of baking the fertilizer, if any?
Baking the fertilizer is extremely important. It eliminates all possibilities of it being a carcinogen, meaning that if they baked the Drufo, there would be absolutely no possibility of it causing cancer.
Based off your time in the development team, what was Drufo's importance to the company?
Drufo was extremely important to the company. It was unique to Lush Fertilizer and it set them apart in the market.
So given this fact, how did Lush respond to these recommendations?
They were informed of baking Drufo, but they chose not to.
What does this mean to you?
This means that they had the opportunity and the resources to eliminate all possibilities of it being carcinogen, to make sure that it had no effects of being cancerous, and they still chose not to.
Objection, lack of foundation.
Mr. Maestas, the foundation for the witness making this testimony.
Your Honor, I have laid the foundation that the witness saw the report about baking Drufo, and as they were in the company, they would know that Lush did not bake the fertilizer.
What exactly, would you ask the question again? I just need to get the question in mind to see if it is within that scope.
Oh, yes, of course. What does this mean to you? That was the question, and it was in reference to not baking the fertilizer, even though they had the recommendation.
All right, but her answer went beyond that.
So
unless you can lay a foundation for why she can give that opinion, essentially it's a lay opinion at this point. I'm going to strike that. But if you can lay a foundation for why she has that opinion, how can she give that opinion? What facts does she have as to what that meant to her? You may ask that. You may ask that foundational question. Otherwise, I'll strike the answer.
Did you ever hear of baking the fertilizer?
I did. It was brought up in a report.
And based off your time in the development team, did you know of Drufo's importance to the company?
I did. As I said, it set them apart in the market and it was unique to them.
And so based off your time in the development team, why did the company not choose to bake their fertilizer?
They chose not to bake their fertilizer. And that means when I was working in the research and development team, I saw the reports and I saw the studies and I saw how they were conducting their studies, and they had the information knowing that it should be baked, but it wasn't required to, and they didn't bake it.
I'll allow that, and the objection is overruled then with that further foundation in that answer. You may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Doncourt retains that you faked the email marked Exhibit 4. How do you respond?
That is entirely false. Ms. Doncourt was copied on the email, and this is an accurate representation of the email that I received, and it has been documented.
No further questions, Your Honor. Thank you.
And Mr. Braun, cross-exam.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Durst, you're basing your concerns on Drufo based on studies conducted at Lush, right?
Correct. That was a part of the first study.
And these studies were conducted in 2003, correct?
Yes.
You've had this concern about Drufo since 2003, right?
Yes.
You have allegedly had this concern for 19 years, correct?
That is correct.
But this is the first that you are bringing it up publicly, right?
This is the best opportunity I've seen to bring it up.
I'd like to direct your attention to your performance reviews. You wanted to be a good employee, right?
Of course.
And you would want your performance reviews to reflect that, correct?
That is correct.
Objection.
And the objection is?
Out of the scope of the direct.
Mr. Braun.
Your Honor, this goes to the witness's bias.
Mr. Maestas.
Can I have a second to consult my co-counsel?
Yes, you may.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, the opposing counsel has not established any bias.
Objection is overruled. Credibility of a witness is always at issue, does not need to be raised separately. Mr. Braun, you may continue. And if you need to re-ask the question, you may.
Thank you, Your Honor. So your performance reviews were important to you, right?
I believe that they're important to the company, but my product of work and how hard I worked was important to me.
You wanted your performance reviews to reflect your product of work then, right?
I feel like I proved how hard I worked.
After your performance reviews began to plummet, your peers at Lush had stated that you were skating along and not pulling your weight, correct?
Those were accusations that were made, correct?
And that made you mad at your peers, correct?
It may have made me disappointed at the moment, but any animosity that may have happened then is since dissipated, and I'm just glad working where I am now.
Your performance reviews were so bad you were forced to sign a performance improvement plan, right?
That is correct.
And you were unhappy about that, weren't you?
I felt that I was being misrepresented.
And then you went on probationary status with the company, correct?
I believe so, yes.
You were angry that you were placed on probation, correct?
As I said before, it was disappointing at the time, but any animosity has since dissipated.
So, Ms. Durst, by the time you were fired, you were on very bad terms with the company, correct?
I was disappointed in how they responded, yes.
Now let's talk about your relationship with Blake Doncourt. At one point in time, you were very close to Blake, weren't you?
Yes, as I said, he was like the father I never had. We were very close growing up.
You were so close to Blake, in fact, that he's the one who actually hired you, correct?
That is correct.
You recall that you had a meeting with Blake Doncourt at the end of 2004, near the beginning of 2005, right?
That is correct.
And at this meeting, you discussed your performance reviews, correct?
Yes, I brought up to him that I felt that they were inaccurate, and he refused to help me with my situation.
You didn't talk about Drufo at this meeting, did you?
No,
And you were not satisfied with how Blake treated you at this meeting, correct?
no. As I said, I felt like he wasn't respecting my issue that I had brought to him.
And then you had a second meeting with Blake at the beginning of 2005, right?
Mm-hmm.
And in this meeting,
I'm sorry, is that a yes? You have to answer with yes, no, or any explanation, but that is a yes. Thank you.
and in this meeting, you again discussed your performance reviews, didn't you?
That is correct.
And again, you were unhappy with how Blake treated you in this meeting, right?
Yes.
But you didn't bring up Drufo in this meeting either, right?
Nope. As you said, this was a meeting regarding my performance.
You talked to Blake twice and did not discuss your concerns about Drufo, right?
That is correct.
You've allegedly had your concerns since 2003, right?
Yes.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
And Mr. Maestas, redirect.
Yes, very quickly, Your Honor. What happened before you got these bad reviews, Ms. Durst?
These bad reviews only happened after the first study with Drufo and after I had submitted my studies that I felt it may be carcinogenic.
And who did you bring up your concerns to?
Blake Doncourt. Oh, I submitted.
I'm sorry. Oh, I thought there was an objection there. There was not. Mr. Maestas, sorry for interrupting.
No worries, Your Honor. Who did you bring up your concerns of Drufo to?
I submitted my concerns of Drufo to Jerry Langley, and the email that was sent out regarding my concerns and others, I'm sure, was copied to or was sent to Blake Doncourt as well. So he did know about those concerns.
No further questions, Your Honor.
And Mr. Braun, recross on those issues.
No, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. And Ms. Durst, your testimony is completed. You are excused. Thank you. Our next witness will be Dr. Rogers, and I believe Ms. Wilson, you are directing. Is that correct? No, Ms. Bouchard is directing. No, that's Ms. Hold on. Ms. Bouchard is crossing, and I have Ms. Wilson directing.
Yes, Mr. Wilson is directing.
Mr. Wilson, well, there we go. That's my gender bias. I saw the name and just didn't get it. So my apology, Mr. Wilson. And there we go. I didn't have video. So that was, again, my fault. Mr. Wilson, you may call your witness.
Your Honor, the plaintiff calls Dr. Casey Rogers to the stand.
And Dr. Rogers, you have been sworn. Mr. Wilson, you may proceed.
Hello, Dr. Rogers. My name is Haven Wilson. I'm going to be asking you some questions. Can you state your name and spell your last name for the court?
Hello, I'm Dr. Casey Rogers. That's Rogers.
Great. Did you attend any form of higher education?
Yes, I did.
Where did you attend this higher education?
I earned my Bachelor of Science degree in Agriculture and Chemistry from the Colorado State University, and I also earned my PhD in Agriculture and Entomology from the University of California at Berkeley.
Are you employed?
Yes, I am.
Where are you employed?
I am a professor in the Horticulture and Entomology department at Berkeley.
Are you a full professor?
Yes.
Does the chemical Drufo ring a bell for you?
Yes, it does. I've studied Drufo for many years.
Do you have any articles on this?
Yes, in total, over my career, I've published 6 articles. 4 are about Drufo.
Are these articles peer-reviewed?
As they are published in scientific journals, it's a necessary step for them to be peer-reviewed, so yes.
Do you have any studies on Drufo?
Yes, I conducted my own.
Objection, Your Honor.
And the objection is?
Well, false evidence, Dr. Rogers' studies were not peer-reviewed.
Well, you may address that on, if you wish to voir dire this witness on that topic, you may do so, but we'll save that for voir dire. And if you'd like to do that now, you may so ask to voir dire.
Sure, permission to voir dire, Your Honor.
Yes, you may.
Dr. Rogers, you're a professor, correct?
Sorry, the internet cut off, so I wasn't able to hear.
No worries. Dr. Rogers, you're a professor, right?
Yes, I'm a full professor.
And you have a PhD in agriculture and entomology, right?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to, if your objection was to that specific issue about a peer-reviewed article, I'm not going to allow you at this time to voir dire on any issue but that, because that's the subject of your objection. You'll have an opportunity to do a full voir dire at the conclusion of Mr. Wilson's qualification of this witness. But if you have the objection is to that specific issue of a peer-reviewed article, that is the extent of the voir dire at this time. So you may ask that question.
Dr. Rogers, was your study on the effects of Drufo on people peer-reviewed?
It hasn't been submitted or published yet, so it hasn't been peer-reviewed yet.
Right, the objection then is sustained. That particular article has not been submitted or peer-reviewed. Mr. Wilson, you may continue.
You have 6 articles that are peer-reviewed, correct?
6 articles, and when I meant that they were peer-reviewed, I was talking about my articles, not my study.
All right. All right, let's see. Can you elaborate any further on these studies?
My study was organized into 3 groups. The first was a control group, which were people who were never exposed to Drufo. The second group were people who were exposed occasionally, and the third group were people who were exposed regularly.
Your Honor, at this time, we tender Dr. Rogers as an expert witness in the field of the effects of Drufo on humans. Her knowledge, skill, and education qualify her for this position.
Right, so you're asking that the expertise be contained to
Agriculture
studies on Drufo.
and agriculture and entomology. My bad. I forgot to.
Agriculture and entomology?
Yes, as she has PhDs.
Got it. And Ms. Bouchard, any objection to any of those three areas, agriculture and entomology in general, or Drufo in specifically?
Yes, Your Honor. Out of scope of the witness, permission to do a voir dire.
Yes, you may.
Thank you. Dr. Rogers, you're a professor, correct?
Yes, I am.
And you have a PhD in agriculture and entomology.
Yes, from the University of California at Berkeley.
But Dr. Rogers, you conducted an experiment on the effects of Drufo on people, right?
Yes, I conducted a study.
But Drufo is a chemical, is it not?
It is a chemical.
And you never went to school for toxicology, did you?
I have a Bachelor of Science degree in agriculture and chemistry from the Colorado State University, so I am able to talk about Drufo.
But you don't have one in toxicology?
No, I don't.
Additionally, Dr. Rogers, you never went to medical school either.
I did not.
You have never treated a patient with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
No, I didn't.
In fact, you've never treated any patient in a medical setting, have you?
I do not treat patients, no.
Because you are not a medical doctor, are you?
I am not.
Nor are you a toxicologist.
I'm sorry, Mr. Wilson, is there an objection?
Yes, relevance. What does a medical doctor have to do with the study of Drufo?
And Ms. Bouchard?
Dr. Rogers has made claims about non-Hodgkin's lymphoma correlating with Drufo when she has no degree in medical studies.
However, she does have a degree in agriculture, which is related to Drufo.
All right, I'm going to overrule the objection as far as qualifying this witness as an expert. Those issues may again be raised during her opinions if I do qualify her, but not on the qualification itself. So as to qualification issues, objection overruled. You may raise those later on her opinions in general, but Ms. Bouchard, you may continue. If you need to re-ask the question, you may.
Thank you, Your Honor. Based on the witness's testimony, the defense moves to exclude the expert witness based on the fact that they're improperly qualified. The defense accepts the horticulture, entomology, and chemistry. However, Dr. Rogers should be precluded from rendering any testimony regarding medical diagnosis or toxicology. Thank you.
I'm going to, Mr. Wilson, do you have a response to the position of the defense?
Yes. The chemistry of Drufo and the agriculture of Drufo are the main things, and you do not have to be a medical doctor to see the correlation between non-Hodgkin lymphoma and Drufo.
I'm going to qualify this witness in the areas of generally agriculture and entomology, if entomology has anything to do with this case, but in those areas, and specifically as to Drufo. The rules permit an expert witness in a particular area to rely on other areas if that is the general practice of experts in her area. She does not have to be for instance, if this opinion had to do something with geometry, she doesn't have to be an expert in geometry. She can rely on the facts and the opinions of geometry to create her own opinion. She can't profess to be an expert in geometry, but she can rely on geometry to create her own opinions. Similarly, if there are medical issues that experts in her field commonly rely on, she can rely on those. I believe it's under 704 or 703. I'd have to look at my rules, but I'm going to qualify this witness on that basis. Mr. Wilson, you may continue.
Dr. Rogers, do you know what happens when people are exposed to Drufo for extended periods of time?
Yes, there is a high degree of scientific probability that they will develop non-Hodgkin lymphoma.
What is non-Hodgkin lymphoma?
Non-Hodgkin
Action, Your Honor. Out of scope of the or out of speculation.
Speculation objection.
Speculation. My apologies.
I'm sorry. Mr. Wilson?
As Your Honor has previously stated, you do not have to be a medical doctor to know what non-Hodgkin lymphoma is.
And Ms. Bouchard?
As I said before, Dr. Rogers does not have a medical degree, and to make claims such as non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, that non-Hodgkin's lymphoma has a correlation with a chemical, the defense believes that it is necessary to have a credible education on so.
Mr. Wilson, if you can lay a foundation that Dr. Rogers has either participated in or has received studies that create that correlation and reviewed those in the course of establishing her own opinion on this, I'll allow it. If she has seen those studies or has done those studies herself, either one.
One second, may I consult my co-counsel?
Yes, you may.
Your Honor, she has done the studies.
No,
And
you just need to ask her the question.
What is non-Hodgkin lymphoma was my question.
Yes, but the objection is to why that is relevant and why she can testify to it not being a doctor. The foundation has to have something to do with that she has looked at studies that indicate that correlation. If she has done so, I'll allow it.
She has 6 published articles.
You just need to ask her those questions.
Sorry. How many published articles do you have?
I have 6 articles. 4 are about Drufo.
Objection.
Hang on.
Sorry.
You haven't. Yeah, but not in this context. We're now laying the foundation. Mr. Wilson, you may proceed.
Foundation.
Or Dr. Rogers, you can finish your answer if you haven't finished.
Oh, that was my answer, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Wilson, you may go ahead.
Have you done a study on Drufo?
Yes, I've conducted my own study to see if there were any adverse health effects on the human body.
And are there any other studies on Drufo that relate to yours?
Well, once Drufo was released onto the market, there have been many reports on the possible carcinogen that it is.
All right, based on that testimony, the objection is overruled. I'll allow the jury to consider that opinion by Dr. Rogers of that correlation. Mr. Wilson, you may continue.
Have you formed the conclusion within a reasonable degree of scientific certainty that Drufo has a direct correlation to non-Hodgkin lymphoma?
Yes, I have.
And what is that opinion?
My expert opinion is that Drufo causes non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Is this disease at all genetic?
It is not genetic. It's caused by environmental conditions.
What environmental conditions?
That can include pesticides, which can be absorbed through the skin or inhaled through the respiratory system.
Your Honor, no further questions.
And Ms. Bouchard, cross-exam.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you. Dr. Rogers, let's talk about the experiment you conducted. You have explained in your methodology how you put together your 3 categories for your test subjects, correct?
Yes, I have.
Objection, Your Honor, asked and answered.
Asked and answered on direct, but not on cross. Overruled. Ms. Bouchard, you may continue.
These categories were based upon the degree to which the test subjects used lush fertilizer, correct?
Yes, they were based on no exposure, occasional exposure, and regular exposure.
However, this is the only criteria you use to separate your subjects, right?
Yes.
When conducting your experiment, you did not consider other chemicals your test subjects were exposed to, did you?
The purpose of the study was to see if there were any effects that Drufo had, so no.
Dr. Rogers, you'd agree that farm laborers and landscapers use a variety of fertilizers and other chemicals in their field of work, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
But you haven't researched the effect that the other fertilizers with other chemicals have on the workers that you experimented on, did you?
For many years in my career, I've researched the effects that chemicals have on the body, and that included Drufo.
Dr. Rogers, in your experiment, you didn't isolate any of your subjects who used Drufo exclusively, did you?
They were only separated into 3 different groups, like I said before.
Sorry, it glitched out. Sorry, did you hear my question? Sorry, like just glitched out.
Yes, I answered. Would you like me to say it again?
Yes, please, my apologies.
No, it's fine. I said that my study was organized into 3 different groups, like I said before.
But you did not isolate your subjects who used Drufo exclusively.
No, I didn't.
And now you're certainly aware that even Dakota Weirs, someone who worked with fertilizer constantly, used a number of other fertilizers in Lush, correct?
Yes.
Moving on, Dr. Rogers, your study was never replicated, was it?
Objection, relevance.
And Ms. Bouchard, the relevance of that issue?
For an accurate study, the defense believes that it is important to replicate a study to test its credibility in comparison to the first time you conducted it.
Mr. Wilson, why is that not established relevance?
I withdraw my objection.
Objections withdrawn. Do you need to re-ask the question, Ms. Bouchard?
Yes, Your Honor. Dr. Rogers, your study was never replicated, was it?
My specific study was not replicated. However, there have been many reports on the possible carcinogenicity of Drufo.
Sorry, my connection I'm having technical difficulties. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you, but your screen is frozen, but you may proceed. We can hear you. There we go.
I'm sorry, I'm having some technical difficulties.
We've got you live and audio, both.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. Moving on, Dr. Rogers. Moving on, Dr. Rogers. All fertilizers contain pesticides, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And they contain pesticides and toxins which are designed to kill, correct?
To kill bugs.
And pesticides and toxins are in fertilizer, whether or not there's Drufo.
Yes, that's the whole point of fertilizers.
Exactly. And even though you're not a medical doctor, you said yourself, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma is usually caused by exposure to an environmental condition, including pesticides. Did you not?
I did say that.
And your study didn't focus on the effect of those pesticides.
My study was focused on the effect of Drufo.
But it didn't focus on pesticides that you claim yourself caused non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
My study did not focus on other chemicals or pesticides, no.
You said those pesticides can be absorbed or inhaled into the respiratory system, right?
Yes.
And you advise to protect yourself from the pesticides, anyone should wear long sleeves and long pants to avoid their skin from coming in contact with the chemicals, right?
Yes, as a part of my study, I did study how to mitigate exposure. However, the results were inconclusive.
A person would also wear a protective face mask to protect themselves, right?
Yes, a medical grade protective face mask such as an N95.
But Dakota Weirs never did any of that, did she?
Typically, protective personal equipment is not provided to workers, and no, she didn't.
Relevance.
I'm sorry, there's an objection.
Relevance. Dakota Weirs is not involved with Dr. Rogers' study.
Ms. Bouchard.
My apologies, I'm having connection issues again. Dakota, the whole basis of this court case is about Dakota Weirs, and Dr. Rogers says in her witness statement that she looked into Dakota Weir's medical backgrounds.
And so that, what I need you to do then is lay that foundation. If she has some foundation with Dakota Weir's situation, I'll allow it. If you cannot lay that foundation, then I will sustain the objection and strike the testimony. But if you can lay that foundation with the witness that she has knowledge of Dakota Weir's situation, you may do so.
Yes, Your Honor. On lines 85 and 86 of Dr. Rogers' witness statement.
No, she has to testify to it. The witness has to testify to it.
Yes, Your Honor. Dr. Rogers, in your witness statement, is it true that on lines 85 and 86, you state that you reviewed her medical records?
Yes, and I can confirm that she was diagnosed with non-Hodgkin lymphoma.
Thank you, Your Honor. No further
Based on that, I will overrule the objection, and Ms. Bouchard, you may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. No further questions.
And Mr. Wilson, redirect.
Yes, it'll be very short. Dr. Rogers, is there any other studies on the effect of Drufo?
Yes, it is already known that Drufo is carcinogenic in rats, and there has also been many reports on the possibility of it being a carcinogen.
Thank you, Your Honor. No further questions.
And Ms. Bouchard, recross on that issue.
No, Your Honor. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And Dr. Rogers, that concludes your testimony. You are excused. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
And do we, for Ms. Flores, do we have any additional witnesses for the plaintiff?
No, Your Honor.
And do you wish to rest your case?
Yes, Your Honor.
Thank you. For the defense, Ms. Let's see, Ms. Bouchard, who is the first witness and who will the first attorney be for the defense?
The defense wishes to call Ms. Skylar Weirs.
And that will be, let's see, Mr. Braun will be doing the direct, is that correct?
It is, Your Honor.
Great, okay, give me just a moment to get organized for the defense here. Here we go. And Mr. Maestas, you'll be doing the cross on Skylar, is that correct?
Oh, sorry, Your Honor. Yes, it is.
Okay, good. I'm just getting organized for the, give me just a moment here. All right, and Mr. Braun, you may call your witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. The defense calls Ms. Skylar Weirs to the stand.
And Ms. Weirs, you have been sworn in. Mr. Braun, you may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Weirs. Would you please introduce yourself to the jury?
Hi, yes, my name is Skylar Weirs, and I am an investigative journalist, and I work part-time at Applebee's.
Could you please explain to the court how you know the plaintiff?
Well, she's actually my twin.
Why are you here today?
Well, I've done extensive research on this topic specifically, and I honestly think that Dakota is going after the wrong company, and I think that...
Objection, Your Honor. Lack of foundation.
Mr. Maestas, the objection is foundation.
Correct.
And as to what particular part of this testimony?
The witness
has no foundation.
The witness said that she thinks Dakota is going after the wrong company. She's only introduced herself, and she cannot talk about this as of now.
Okay, Mr. Braun, I'm going to give you a little latitude here to see if you can establish a foundation of why she feels there is a different company, if there's a different specific company or just her opinion is not this company, not Lush. Either one, either there is another company or it's just not this company. So if you can establish that foundation on her lay opinion, I'll allow it.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'll give you some latitude here to ask a few questions. So you can continue with your examination as you have it. I just want to hear that at some point.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Weirs, you mentioned that Dakota is your twin. What's compelling you to testify against her?
I'm not testifying against Dakota today. I'm testifying honestly for science and for the scientific research that I've done specifically to this topic. And I think that honestly, the effect that Jupiter could have on on the environment outweighs any familial relationship that I have.
And Mr. Mason, I'm going to hold off on that. I want to see part of Ms. As I understand it, part of Ms. Weir's testimony is going to be lay testimony, part will be expert. I'm going to give a little latitude to Mr. Braun here to proceed with this. If I decide that she does not have a basis in her expert testimony that Lush is not responsible or liable, then I will overrule your objection. But I just need to hear a little bit more. So I have your objection in mind. You don't need to make it again. I will rule on it at some point here. Mr. Braun, please continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. Skylar, you mentioned you're an investigative journalist. What's something that you've written about?
Well, I spent numerous months researching the effect that Drufo has on the cause of cancer.
What is your education on this topic?
Well, like I said, I've spent months looking through numerous publications from the USDA, the NSDA, everything that I could find relating to this topic, and coming to my own conclusions and just creating an article about this.
How long have you been conducting your research process?
I would say I'm coming up close to about a year.
Who publishes your articles?
The Rational Society.
What does the Rationalist Society do?
Specifically, they publish articles that promote scientific skepticism, and a lot of it is just pursuing the truth about modern science and around the world. Yeah.
Why do you think you're qualified to be an expert witness with the lack of a college degree?
I don't really think a college degree has anything to do with it. I have looked at very reliable publications specifically relating to this topic. And just because I don't have a college degree, that really has nothing to do with it. I chose not to go to college based upon personal choice. And I think that I specifically have a different point of view from anyone else.
Objection.
And the objection, Mr. Macias?
The witness is narrating.
I overruled at this point the question. The issue right now is qualifying her as an expert, and I'll allow her to testify to her background. And I don't find that it's terribly narrative. It's to one particular point. Mr. Braun, you may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. Skylar, what is Acrotech?
Well, it's a very complicated thing, but basically it revolves around the use of technology in agriculture and increasing yield, profitability, and effectivity, or efficiency, sorry.
Mr. Braun, we had a technical glitch there. If you had said something, so go right ahead. Your screen is freezing up.
Okay, Your Honor. The defense would like to move to have Ms. Weeks qualified as an expert in the area of agricultural technology based on her prior testimony.
And Mr. Maestas, any objection to qualifying the witness as an expert in agricultural technology or agrotech?
We do object.
And do you have an objection, or do you wish to voir dire first?
We wish to voir dire first.
Go right ahead.
You write for what is called the Rationalist Society, correct?
Yes.
And the Rationalist Society is focused on promoting scientific skepticism, as you stated earlier?
Yes, that's what I said.
This is skepticism on heavily politicized topics, such as commercial agriculture, correct?
Yes.
And vaccinations?
Yes.
And climate change?
Correct.
You were asked by your editor to write a series of articles, correct?
Yeah.
But you did not provide any of these articles for trial, did you?
No.
You have no work to show the jury, do you?
Not with me today.
You would consider yourself very well versed in modern agritech, correct?
Yes, I do.
But you never went to college, did you?
Like I said, I don't think a college degree has anything to do with how intelligent I am or how knowledgeable I am on this topic.
And you never told us what studies you actually researched, did you?
I said I have researched the link between Drufo and the cause of cancer, and that is what we are here talking about today. And
can you name a study that says that?
Sorry, I'm confused about the question.
The question was, you've never actually researched any studies on this subject. And it was your testimony just now that you did. However, I asked you to name these studies.
I can't think of a study.
Your Honor.
I'm sorry, Mr. Braun.
This is out of the witness statement.
Understood, but as long as it's in the witness statement, I guess it's fair game. If it's not, I mean, if I'm not quite sure what the issue is here, Mr. Braun. But what is it that you're objecting to? The witness's testimony or the question that's been asked?
Your Honor, the opposing counsel is asking a question that cannot be answered based on Skylar's witness statement.
I believe that would be fair game. If it's not there, it's not there. So let's proceed. Mr. Maces, let's move on. The answer's been given. Let's move on to the next issue.
You never received any specialized training, did you?
I spent like a year researching this topic.
But no specialized training, yes or no?
No.
And you did not review the internal studies of Lush Fertilizer or any fertilizer company, did you?
I researched the connection between Drufo and the cause of cancer. That's what my article was about.
Like I asked previously, you do not mention these studies, do you?
Sorry, my internet's cutting out.
Like I mentioned earlier, you do not mention these studies anywhere, do you?
No, I don't believe so.
Your Honor, I object to the witness being entered as an expert in modern agritech because she has no degree, but even without a degree, her research has not been presented, and her studies and her articles have not been presented to this court. And for those reasons, I object.
Mr. Braun?
Yes, Your Honor. Based on the pretrial rulings, the defense believes that Skylar has more specialist knowledge than that of a lay witness. Therefore, she should be qualified as an expert witness in modern agritech.
I'm going to overrule the objection and qualify this witness as an expert in modern agricultural technology. She has done the research, although her reports have not been presented to the court. They would be hearsay anyway. All written reports are hearsay if the witness is available to testify. So she is here to testify, so she may do so. The jury may go to the weight of her testimony based on her lack of education, formal education, the fact that she has done research on other people's reports, that also can be considered on the weight of her testimony, but not on her qualification to testify, because she has done the work, which is to accumulate all of this information and review it. So, Mr. Braun, you may continue with your expert.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Weirs, how do Lush fertilizer products compare to other companies?
Well, it's actually very interesting. Lush fertilizer has Druvo within it, and it has chemical bonding agents that bond to grass, and it allows it to stick to grass and plants so that when it rains or when there's sprinklers, the fertilizer stays for a extensive amount of time. And I believe that other chemical fertilizers only last or need reapplication from about 5 to 6 times a year, and Lush fertilizer only needs reapplication, I believe, once or twice.
Could you please explain to the court what makes some pesticides harmful to humans and the environment?
Well, pesticides are harmful and they are toxic, and there is nitrogen within them that is linked to a range of cancers and also has very negative ecological effects. But the whole point of Lush fertilizer is that you don't need to keep applying these harmful chemicals, and that is why it is so important.
Is Drufo an effective pesticide?
Yes, absolutely.
Why is that important?
Because like I said, Drufo is going to change the way that, or it's going to change basically how fertilizers affect the environment and the whole and humans in general. I mean, like I said, pesticides are toxic, and with this constant reapplication of them, it's going to have even more ecological effects than it already has.
And based on that, Drufo would reduce the need for cancer-causing pesticides.
Yes, exactly.
Based on your research, were you able to determine whether or not Drufo causes cancer?
I did not find anything that had specific connection between Drufo and its cause to cancer.
All right, before your next question, I'll rule on the initial objection that Mr. Maestas made at this point. Based on her research, whether the research is true or not, or accepted or not, is up to the jury. But Ms. Weirs has testified as an expert that Lush is not responsible for causing this cancer based on her research. That was the initial objection. No foundation to say that Lush is not responsible. Some other company must be, or something else must be. So that was the objection. I'm ruling on that now and overruling it because this expert has laid a foundation for her opinion that Lush is not liable. Now, you may proceed, Mr. Braun. That objection is taken care of. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. No more questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Maestas, cross-exam.
You work for the Rash Society, correct?
Yes, I've said that before.
Has your writing career made as much money as you had hoped?
Well, my writing career isn't really necessarily a job to me. It's more of a hobby. And honestly, no matter the pay, I'm going to do anything that I can to continue my work.
I would like to remind the witness that for these questions, a simple yes or no answer will suffice.
And I will indicate now, if the witness cannot answer yes or no, she may so say and expand on her answer, unless I decide that the witness is avoiding the answer, in which case I would hold her to a yes or no, but that takes a little work. So you may proceed, Mr. Maestas.
Let me repeat my question. Has your writing career made as much money as you had hoped? Yes or no?
No.
And this has led you to falling down a hole of gambling debt, correct?
I fell down, I gamble because I enjoy to gamble, whether it's the most smart thing that I could be doing.
You are currently in debt because of gambling, correct?
Yes,
Your articles in The Rationalist focus on modern agritech, correct?
yes,
Some of these articles focus on Drufo, correct?
exactly.
Furthermore, you claim that Lush is the victim of a financial hit job by other agritech companies, correct?
Yes, I believe that.
So the agritech market is very competitive, correct?
Yeah, there are many companies that are all trying to share the spotlight.
With such fierce competition, do you believe Lush would have been driven to do whatever it takes to make the most amount of profit?
Objection, lack of foundation.
The objection is foundation on this financial issue, Mr. Maestas.
Your Honor, the witness is an expert in agritech. I think the plaintiff believes that the witness should understand the agritech industry and be able to make an opinion from there.
You may ask her that question, that foundational question, if she has knowledge of that financial aspect, and then if so, you may ask her the pertinent question about how it affects how Drufo affects their bottom line. But you have to lay a little foundation to see if she has that information.
The agritech market is very competitive as far as research goes, correct?
Yes,
And so having a revolutionary product would help in this competitive market, correct?
yes.
So
Fair enough. With that foundation, I'll let you go ahead. Objection is overruled. You may proceed.
So with such fierce competition, do you believe Lush would have been driven to do whatever it takes to protect that product and make the most amount of profit?
I think
Objection, compound question.
I'm sorry. You cut out there for a second.
Objection, compound question.
I don't find it's compound. It is merely it has a preface of the previous answer and then a question based on that preface. Mr. Maestas, you may re-ask the question.
With such fierce competition, do you believe Lush would have been driven to do whatever it takes to protect their product and make the most amount of profit?
I can't speak to what Lush would or wouldn't do, but I think that what Lush has, Drufo especially, is going to change the environment. And no,
So you don't know as an expert, correct?
I am an expert on Drufo's cause to cancer. I don't know. I can't speak to what Lush would or wouldn't do regarding their financials.
You're an expert on the agritech industry and you don't know, but we'll move on. You blame Haven Landscaping for Dakota's illness, correct?
Yes, I think that that is the correct company to be going after.
You blame them for allowing exposure to known harmful chemicals, correct?
Yes,
Examples of known harmful chemicals include pesticides, as you stated earlier, correct?
yes, pesticides are toxic.
And nitrogen as a well-known carcinogen?
Yes,
Does Drufo contain these chemicals?
yes, every fertilizer contains those chemicals.
And Drufo is bonded to these chemicals, correct?
Yes,
So in other words, Drufo is bonded to well-known carcinogens, correct?
correct.
So being exposed to Drufo constantly on the job is being exposed to known carcinogens within its ingredients, correct?
Like I said before, the whole point of Drufo is to decrease the reapplication of these harmful chemicals. So with other fertilizers who need more application of these chemicals are going to have more harmful effects, and all of them have toxic.
Objection. Responsive? That's not the question I asked.
I'm sorry, the objection, Mr. Braun?
No, that was from Zane. The witness was unresponsive. I asked.
Oh, I'm sorry. You may, I'm not at the point of directing this witness to change an answer, but you may re-ask the question and see if you can get a more pointed answer.
Yes or no? Being exposed to Drufo constantly on the job is being exposed to known carcinogens within its ingredients, correct?
Correct.
No further questions, Your Honor.
And Mr. Braun, redirect.
Thank you, Your Honor. Ms. Weirs, when are pesticides and fertilizers posing a safety concern?
Sorry, can you repeat? My internet's cutting out.
Sure. Ms. Weirs, when pesticides and fertilizers pose a safety concern?
Pesticides and fertilizers both have toxic chemicals within them. So if they aren't handled correctly, then of course they're going to be a concern.
Do you stand to gain anything financially if Dakota wins this lawsuit?
No, there is if I honestly there's no financial gain that I get from this. I'm here because I've done research on this topic, and my financial gain is it's not necessary.
Thank you, Ms. Weirs. No more questions, Your Honor.
And Mr. Mays, just recross.
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you very much, Ms. Weirs. Your testimony is completed. You are excused. And is our next witness, let's see here, Dr. Williams, is that correct? Looks
Yes,
like
Your
it
Honor.
is. Okay, give me just a moment. It appears as though Ms. Kraft is doing the direct examination of Dr. Williams. Let me catch up here just a moment. And for Dr. Williams, I've got, looks like Haven Wilson doing the cross. Is that correct? Yes, Mr. Williams. Okay. Give me just a moment. Get my screen right here. And if I did not mention this earlier, it takes me a minute to get things organized because I am your third scorekeeper in addition to being the judge. So I'm juggling some screens here. So give me just a moment. Our witness is Dr. Williams. Here we go. Okay, and Ms. Kraft, you may call your witness to the stand. And there we go.
The defense would like to call Dr. Devin Williams to the stand.
And Dr. Williams, you have been sworn. Ms. Kraft, you may proceed.
Thank you, Your Honor. Good morning, Dr. Williams. Why are you here today?
Hi there. I'm here today to prove that Lush fertilizer is not the cause of Dakota Weir's unfortunate case of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
All right. Now, have you met the plaintiff, Dakota Weirs, before today?
I have not.
Do you have any connections to the defendant, Lush Fertilizer?
Yes, I lead the toxicology research and development labs at Lush Fertilizer, and I'm also the outgoing chair of the ethics committee.
Are you paid in your positions?
Of course, I have bills to pay like anybody else, but I also love my job.
Does working at Lush create a bias in your opinions?
Of course not. This goes way beyond who I work for. I've devoted my career to studying toxicology, and it is important for me to find out all the answers. All I'm here for today is to address the proven science to this case.
There's a binder in front of you. Your Honor, let the record reflect that I would like to share Exhibit 9 with the witness and jury.
You may post Exhibit 9, not to the jury yet, but for identification.
Oh, yeah, my bad.
That's fine.
Can you see it, Your Honor?
It's coming. Not quite yet, but it is coming.
Okay. All right. Now,
it still is trying to come. It's not yet here, but it looks as though someone's trying to post to screen share. But it's not here yet. if you want to start on any other question with the witness, you may. If you need Exhibit 9, you're going to have to wait for it, I guess.
Okay.
Let me try.
I'm gonna have somebody else try real quick.
Good enough. Yeah, we'll, why don't we just pause the timekeeping until we get that up? There it comes. Okay, we have Exhibit 9. Go right ahead for identification.
Okay. Dr. Williams, does Exhibit 9 accurately depict your educational background and experience?
Yes,
Do you update this regularly?
I do.
Your Honor, the defense moves to admit Exhibit 9 into evidence.
Mr. Wilson, any objection to Exhibit 9 as a foundational exhibit for this witness's qualification?
No, no objection.
Exhibit 9 is in. Thank you very much. Ms. Bouchard, you may continue.
Okay.
I'm
Now,
sorry,
Dr.
Ms.
Williams,
Kraft. I said Ms. Kraft.
Yes.
I apologize.
would you please explain your educational background to the jury?
Of course, I have a PhD in pharmacology and toxicology and a master's in forensic toxicology, both of which I received at the Colorado State University. I also have a bachelor's degree in toxicology that I received from the University of Utah.
And what states do you currently have your certifications in?
I am certified in forms of toxicology in Colorado, New Mexico, Utah, and Wyoming.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Hold up. Sorry. We seem to be having some technical difficulties. Could we pause the timer real quick?
Okay.
Oh, wait, never mind.
There's
Never mind.
Exhibit 9 again. There we
I'm
go.
so sorry. Okay. Now, Dr. Williams, you have quite a few publications. Would you like to talk about them?
Sorry, you cut out a little bit. Would you mind repeating your question?
Yes, you have quite a few publications. Would you like to talk about them?
Yeah, I have 6 publications, all of which relate to drugs and chemicals and their effects on different things.
Are your publications peer-reviewed?
Yes.
Your Honor, the defense offers Dr. Devin Williams as an expert in toxicology, specializing in forensics and pharmacology.
And Mr. Wilson, any objection to that qualification in toxicology, pharmacology, in a forensic setting?
I object to forensics due to relevance to the case.
Okay, forensics just means it's in a legal context. Do you wish to voir dire on that subject?
No, Your Honor.
I'm going to qualify the witness as an expert in toxicology and pharmacology. Since we are in litigation, the context of forensic application is really moot because here we are in litigation. So the witness is qualified in those areas. We can dispense with Exhibit 9. It is admitted, and Ms. Kraft, you may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. Dr. Williams, you are an expert in toxicology. So based on your education and experience, in your opinion, did Drufo cause Dakota Weir's non-Hodgkin lymphoma?
No.
Why is that? Wait, that's my bad.
Well, the question to Dr. Williams, did you hear the question?
No, I'm sorry.
Okay, ask the last question, the why question, if you would again, Ms. Kraft.
Yes. Dr. Williams, why do you believe that Drufo did not cause Dakota Weir's non-Hodgkin lymphoma?
Well, there's nothing in Casey Rogers' statement that says that the subject has been using products with only Drufo in it. If she was also exposed to multiple fertilizers, she might have gotten non-Hodgkin's lymphoma from a different fertilizer, not Lush.
Can Your Honor misquote of a witness?
That sounds as though it is a disputed issue. Ms. Kraft, is there, or I should ask Dr. Williams, is that information that you received from the witness statement?
It should be.
Okay, I'm going to let it stand at this point. If there's some dispute as to that, it can be raised appropriately outside the litigation. So let's proceed. Ms.
Dr.
Kraft?
Williams, are you critical of Casey Rogers' studies and opinions?
Yes, very much.
Okay, and why is that?
The studies that Casey Rogers conducted were not done in a way that could show correct proof.
Please go into more detail.
If she did this study on someone who got non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, but was also exposed to multiple fertilizers, then they might have gotten non-Hodgkin's lymphoma from a different fertilizer, not Lush.
Objection, Your Honor. The question called for speculation.
Ms. Kraft? Since the answer's already been given, or the objection is to the answer, not to the question.
It was asked the question which called for speculation.
Oh, okay. Ms. Kraft, would you re-ask that question then? I was focusing on the answer.
Yes, I asked if Dr. Williams would go into more detail about why she is critical of Casey Rogers' opinions.
I don't see that that is a question that is asking for speculation, so overruled. Let's have the answer again, and maybe I'll change my mind as to the answer.
Thank you, Your Honor. Please go into more detail.
If she did a study on someone who got non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, but was also exposed to multiple fertilizers at the time, then they might have gotten non-Hodgkin's lymphoma from a different fertilizer, not Lush.
I will overrule the objection if it is to the answer. That is not speculation. It's merely an observation of the research. So, Ms. Kraft, you may proceed.
Thank you. Dr. Williams, I'm sure you were aware that Casey Rogers' studies weren't peer-reviewed. Do you have anything to say about that?
Yeah, I find it a little bit odd that her studies haven't been peer-reviewed or replicated, but all of my studies are.
Okay, now moving on. Some of us have heard that Drufo is banned in France. Is this correct?
Yes, it is correct, but Drufo is not used in Europe because of the European Union rule that no new fertilizer formulations may be used that contribute to incidental nitrate accumulations in lab tests.
Why didn't Lush Fertilizer fight the EU's decision?
At the time, Lush Fertilizer was a very new company. They didn't really have the resources, and they could have fought this decision, but we chose not to. Right now, we are planning to contradict it, however.
Okay. Dr. Williams, one last time, what are your opinions on the correlation between Drufo and non-Hodgkin lymphoma?
Unfortunately, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma is a horrible, horrible disease, but the use of products with Drufo is not correlated with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma or any other cancer.
Thank you. No further questions, Your Honor.
Mr. Wilson, cross-exam.
Yes, Your Honor. Good afternoon, Dr. Williams. My name is Haven Wilson, and I will be asking you a few questions today.
Hi.
You are a research toxicologist for Lush Fertilizer, correct?
Yes.
And you have led the toxicology lab for 7 years, correct?
Yes.
So you understand how the human body reacts to toxins.
Correct.
And you know how to test for toxicity in chemicals?
Yes.
So you see yourself as having a responsibility to look past current project objectives and ask the big questions, correct?
Yes.
And you also led the ethics committee for Lush Fertilizer, correct?
I do.
So you understand the value of integrity.
Mm-hmm.
And you would never lie about testing.
And that, I'm sorry, that is a yes.
Yes, sorry.
And are so close that we require a yes, a no, or some explanation that you'd like to give, but not and Go right ahead, Mr. Wilson.
So you would never lie about test results?
No.
And you were first employed at Lush as a technician, correct?
Yes.
And later you were in charge of the labs?
I am still in charge of the labs. I mostly oversee the work on environmental impacts.
Please. When you joined Lush, half of the development team had left the company, correct?
I guess so.
And that rapid turnover had caused some projects to be rushed to completion?
Yes.
So was there a higher chance for mistakes?
Sure.
And your toxicology tests were performed in-house, correct?
Yes, but I also did a lot of experiments before I worked at Lush and while I worked at Lush.
And your toxicology tests did not reveal a cancer risk for Drufo,
No,
which is what you wanted to find, of course.
correct.
Does Drufo contain nitrates?
Yes,
And it's banned in the EU, Drufo is. Is that correct?
well, it is not banned for cancerous reasons.
Is that a yes?
Yes,
And you believe that this is because of nitrate accumulation?
it is.
And if a US court found Drufo causes cancer, there would be no chance to ever sell it to the EU?
Probably not.
And if you win this suit, you plan to appeal the EU's decision to ban Drufo?
Yes,
So then you could sell Drufo in the EU.
correct.
And I imagine that would result in a lot of money for Lush, correct?
Objection, Your Honor.
Any
This
objection?
creates an unfair bias.
I'm sorry, the objection is unfair bias. A question involving unfair bias. I'm not quite sure what the objection is.
I was simply asking if
Hang on, Mr. Wilson. I need the objection first.
Relevance, I guess.
Okay, Mr. Wilson, as to why is this issue relevant?
because Dr. Williams works for Drufo and she's currently paid there. So I was simply asking if it would result in money for Lush to.
I agree. It's a if Dr. Wilson has knowledge of that, which I don't know if she does or not, but it would be relevant if she has knowledge. If she doesn't, she can say she doesn't know. But if she does know, she may testify to it. So objection overruled. Dr. Williams, you may answer the question. If you need it repeated, we can do that.
May you please repeat the question?
I would imagine that this selling it in the EU would result in a lot more money for Lush, correct?
Yes, but it would also give Lush a chance to branch out.
So you would do anything to keep this lawsuit from going badly against Lush?
Not necessarily. It's not, no. Yes.
But you do have a definite financial bias?
Objection, Your Honor.
No.
Confusion of the issues.
Well, credibility and bias is always an issue. If the witness can answer the question yes or no, or any explanation she wants to give about whether she has a financial bias.
Okay.
Dr. Williams, you may answer that question any way you wish, as long as it's truthful.
Your Honor, would you like me to repeat the question?
That's up to Dr. Williams.
Yes, may you please repeat the question?
You do have a financial bias, correct? Or do you have a financial bias?
I do not have a financial bias.
And you maintain that Drufo does not cause cancer?
It does not cause cancer.
And you are aware of a peer-reviewed study in the EU that showed increased cancer risk with exposure to Drufo?
I'm sorry, you cut out a little bit. May you please repeat the question?
Are you aware of a peer-reviewed study in the EU that showed increased cancer risk with exposure to Drufo?
I'm not.
Or not? So you didn't fully research the risks that were involved with the use of Drufo?
No,
So you were negligent?
I guess so.
Well, let's not, negligence is a term of art in this case. If she was inattentive or hasty in her research, that's one thing, but I'm not using the word negligence in the context of a civil action alleging negligence against a company for its product is different than this doctor's research. So you may use another term that may imply the same inaccurate research, but not negligence. So let's re-ask that question.
All right. So you completely overlooked these risks?
I did not overlook them. There were bigger things that we could focus on at the time.
So even though you were aware of the fact that Drufo causes cancer, you still decided to put it on the market?
I was never aware that it does not cause cancer.
You knowingly put a dangerous product into consumers' hands?
No, we did not. It does not cause cancer.
But if Drufo was known to be a carcinogen, you agree that there should be a warning on the label, right?
Yes.
An accurate label.
Yeah.
As an academic, you know the importance of being peer reviewed, correct?
Definitely.
And you are very critical of Dr. Rogers' study because it has not been peer reviewed. Is that correct?
Yeah, her studies that she conducted that were not done in a way that could show correct proof.
No. Has your study on the risks of Drufo been published at all?
No.
So it couldn't have been peer reviewed at all.
Okay.
Is that a yes or no?
Yes. I mean, I don't really understand what you're asking.
So we don't know the validity of your testing methods.
No.
Or of your results?
No.
No further questions.
Ms. Kraft, redirect.
Yes, Your Honor. Dr. Williams, again, do you have any bias in this case?
No, I do not. I only want the truth and the science of Drufo to be known to other people.
Once again, why didn't you do any personal studies on Drufo?
I didn't feel like there was a need to. There are so many more studies out there. Like Skylar Weirs mentioned earlier, all of them have shown that there's no direct correlation between Drufo and non-Hodgkin's lymphoma.
Now, Dr. Williams, why is lush fertilizer banned in the EU?
It is banned because under the European Union's nitrate directive, there's supposed to be no new fertilizer formulations.
No further questions, Your Honor.
And Mr. Wilson, recross.
No, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Dr. Williams, your testimony is concluded. You are excused. Thank you. And our last witness is going to be Blake Doncourt. Give me just a moment here to reorganize. Once more, hold on. Here we go. And for Blake Doncourt, Ms. Bouchard is doing the direct, correct?
Correct.
And we have Ms. Flores doing the cross. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor.
Great. Just wanted to make sure I was accurate here. Give me just a moment then. Okay. And third witness is Doncourt. There we go. Okay. And Ms. Flores, you may call your witness to the stand.
The defense calls Ms. Blake Doncourt to the stand.
And Ms. Doncourt, you have been sworn already. Ms. Bouchard, you may continue.
Okay. Hello, Ms. Doncourt.
Hello.
Please explain to the jury your involvement in today's case.
I'm the CEO of Lush Fertilizer.
So, how long have you been working in the fertilizer business?
Since 2000. It's crazy how long it's been, and what's even crazier is how far we've come. We have set standards worldwide. We've even been recognized by the UN.
What made you interested in this field?
Personally, I'm really passionate about the environment, and I noticed there are no environmentally friendly fertilizer companies out there. So I started this company with a goal, a fertilizer that's environmentally friendly.
Is it true that you use the chemical Drufo in your fertilizer?
Yes, we do use the chemical Drufo.
Why do you use it in your product?
We use it as a bonding agent. It allows the users of the fertilizer to use less of the product.
Lack of expertise.
The objection, Ms. Flores, is lack of expertise.
Yes, Your Honor.
And Ms. Bouchard?
Ms. Doncourt has lots of personal knowledge on the chemical Drufo because she's the CEO of the company that is of a fertilizer business.
Ms. Flores?
I still don't see how that will qualify her as an expert on and testifying on how Drufo works.
I'm going to overrule the objection and give some latitude for the CEO of a company as to its product. If we get too technical into it, it may require expert testimony, but not so far. So this is knowledge that a CEO would have. Overruled. Ms. Bouchard, you may continue.
Okay, I'm going to repeat my question. Why do you use it in your product?
Well, like I said, Drufo is a bonding agent, and basically it is more environmentally friendly.
Were you ever given any concerns that Drufo was dangerous?
Absolutely not. Based on all scientific research I was shown, there's no reasons to think that Drufo is dangerous.
Do you bake your product?
We do not. Baking Drufo is costly, and while it might alleviate that small risk if it exists, there has been no scientific study showing that the risk is there. So we saw that those that cost of baking it would be better used in other places.
And such as what other places?
Well, like I said, environmental protocols, and also paying our employees, making sure that my company is run well, that all that money is going back into the company. So really, it's just for the company's gain.
Ms. Doncourt, let's talk about the packaging you put on your product regarding the chemical. Could you please turn to Exhibit 1?
Yes.
Your Honor, let the record reflect that I am addressing Exhibit 1 that was previously introduced by the plaintiff.
And do we need to see it again?
Yes, permission to screen share.
Yes, you may. And if we could have that rotated, looks like you'll need to rotate it about 3 times. There we go. Thank you.
All right. Please describe what this is, Ms. Doncourt.
Yeah, so this is a warning we put on all Lush products. It has first aid information if needed, and also recommendations for user safety.
Could you please tell us what some of the recommendations for user safety are?
Sure. So it says that you should wear protective clothing that covers any exposed skin. You should also wear an N95 mask and make sure that no skin is open towards the product.
Is this safety warning on all of Lush's products? Sorry, I'm having connection issues.
Yeah, sorry. I think my internet must have glitched, but it is on every single Lush product.
And did Dakota Weirs follow your company's safety protocols when handling your product?
No, she did not.
And would you consider these safety protocols important to follow?
Yes, these are there for a reason, and they're recommended, and we urge everyone who's handling any fertilizer that contains pesticides to follow these recommendations.
Is there a warning on your product stating that Drufo could be hazardous and cancer causing?
No, why would there be? I mean, it's not cancerous. There's been no scientific evidence saying so. So why would we put a warning for something that doesn't even need a warning?
I'm going to shift gears a little bit and talk about some personal conflict you're going through. You're currently having a divorce, correct?
Objection relevance.
And the what is not relevant? What is your position about the divorce, Ms. Flores?
I
That is
don't
not
see how the
relevant?
divorce connects to my client having non-Hodgkin lymphoma and Drufo.
Are you going to go into any issues about the divorce?
I just wanted to address it in case the
Ms.
defense.
Ms. Flores, are you going to go into any of those issues? Because if you are, I'm going to let Ms. Bouchard, I'll consider the door opened and let her ask about them. If you represent to me, the court, that you will not go into those issues, then Ms. Bouchard has no reason to ask her questions.
In my cross-examination, I do not have any questions connecting to Blake's personal issues and the divorce.
Okay, Ms. Bouchard, let's move on then. This is not apparently an issue.
Okay, great. Speaking of personal matters, could you please elaborate on your relationship with Carson Durst?
Carson Durst is, if I may, a regrettable disappointment. I've known him for a very long time. He was my son's closest friend. I considered him a son. And I had a lot of hope for him.
Relevant, this is again personal things.
Ms. Bouchard?
Ms. Doncourt does address his relationship with, or does address her relationship with Carson in her witness statement. Therefore, I find it relevant to bring it up in her direct examination.
Ms. Flores? Why is that relationship not relevant?
I'm afraid that there's going to be unfair bias towards Carson Durst and will make the jury have a type of bias in this case.
Well, I'm going to overrule the objection, the personal relationship, because we have two sisters, we have a very close relationship among employees and management. I'm going to allow it. Ms. Bouchard, to some extent, you may proceed.
So, Ms. Doncourt, what was Carson's job in your company?
Interestingly enough, Carson's job was to look for any problems or dangers in our fertilizer, which is funny because if he saw these problems he's stating today, why didn't he bring them up to me?
And which fertilizer company did Carson switch to?
Tara's Greenery.
And this is your biggest competitor, correct?
Yeah, we're known worldwide. They're a company. I guess they are our biggest competitor in the sense that they're the closest to us. Competition-wise, we're definitely ahead of them, though.
And have they come out with any technology similar to that of your company since Carson started working there?
Well, I've heard they're coming out with a new fertilizer that's carcinogenic free, whatever that means. Sounds like a ripoff of our product to me.
Finally, the big question is, Ms. Doncourt, do you believe that your company is responsible for Dakota Weir's cancer?
Absolutely not. I'd just like to say I feel awful for what happened to Dakota. I'm glad that they caught it early. But our company
believes, or I'm sorry, she is not an expert in this.
Ms. Bouchard?
Sorry, I'm having connection issues. What was the objection for?
The objection is that there is no, that Ms. Doncourt is not an expert in this area as to what has happened to Ms. Weirs.
This is, Your Honor, this is a personal matter, or this is personal opinion of Ms. Doncourt, and the defense believes she has the right to express it.
A response, Your Honor?
Yes, you may.
Personal beliefs aren't fact in this.
Ms. Doncourt has lots of, sorry, wait, a permission to respond?
Yes, you may.
Ms. Doncourt, Ms. Doncourt does have a lot of experience in the field, as she has said herself, and is the CEO of a fertilizer company, therefore has a lot of knowledge on her product and how it works. She has she has the right to speak about it, therefore.
But she is still not professionally qualified.
That's not what I'm saying.
Okay, hang on. Understood. However, I am going to allow if she were not the CEO of this company, I probably would not allow that testimony. But as the CEO of a company who is accused of negligence and being responsible, I'm going to give her a little latitude to respond to that accusation. So, Ms. Doncourt, you may complete your answer.
Thank you, Your Honor. So I wish my best to Dakota, and I just like to say my company is not responsible. Dakota's been working with fertilizers for a very long time. What, like, we don't even know what else could have been in those other fertilizers she was using. We haven't even taken that into account. So my company would never ever put anyone at risk. And also, there's no scientific evidence, as you heard from Dr. Williams, who is a toxicologist. There's no scientific evidence saying that Drufo is carcinogenic. And that's all I have to say on that.
Thank you. Ms.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Bouchard, you may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. No further questions.
Ms. Flores, cross-exam.
Yes, Your Honor. Good morning, Ms. Doncourt. My name is Caroline Flores, and I'll be asking you a few questions today.
Okay, good morning.
You are the CEO of Lush Fertilizer, correct?
Yeah, and I'm so proud of that. I mean, we've come so far. This is just a vision in my head.
Let's stick to the question, Ms. Doncourt. I gave you a little latitude, but this is cross-exam.
My apologies. Yes.
Continue.
You have been growing this company for over 2 decades, yes?
Yes, that's correct.
Lush Fertilizer works really well, correct?
The fertilizer itself is what you're referring to?
Yes.
Yes, people are able to use less of it because of Drufo. It's a bonding agent, and therefore it doesn't spread the fertilizer.
Yes or no?
Yeah, it works very well.
Thank you. You're very proud of your product because it gives you the opportunity to give the American homeowner have a beautiful lawn, right?
Exactly.
All right. So you have worked day and night to make Lush the profitable company that it is today, yes?
Yes, me and my team. It's not just me, it's my team as well. We've worked hard to make it what it is.
So in order to make Lush the profitable company that it is today, you produce a pesticide actually containing Drufo, yes?
Yeah. Drufo is used in our fertilizer.
And this is all a part of your fertilizer is produced in the US, right?
Yes.
Your Honor, permission to show the witness what has been marked as Exhibit 1?
Yes, it's already been admitted.
I have it in front of me as well, so you don't have to.
All right, so that's good as well. Please look at Exhibit 1. Under the active ingredients, Drufo is the first ingredient listed, correct?
Now, wait a minute. Let's get on Exhibit 1, not Exhibit 4. There we go. Thank you.
Would you like me to repeat my question?
Oh, no, I heard it. Yeah, Drufo is the first ingredient listed under active ingredients.
The second ingredient listed is nitrogen, correct?
Yes.
Because Lush is a profitable company that it is today, you can donate 10% of your profits to the charities, yes?
Yeah, we didn't donate 10% of our annual profits to environmental charities.
Charities that want to reduce the amount of nitrogen in the world?
Yeah, and just work on these environmental conditions. Really, in turn, they just are helping make our world a better place, which is one of my main goals.
Yes or no will suffice.
Yeah.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Thank you. Also on this label, you have certain hazards, right?
Yes.
I'm directing your attention to the section of hazards where it says keep out from children, correct?
Yes, that is an important point too.
And then you have a caution there. And before I ask you to comment on the caution, your warning labels are very important, aren't they?
They're on every single Lush fertilizer product.
And over the 20 years that you have testified that you run this company and sold Lush, you've had many opportunities to review your safety recommendations, yes?
Yes, of course.
And you would want those recommendations be accurate?
I mean, they are accurate.
And complete?
They are complete.
And thorough?
And thorough. Yes, they are thorough.
If you would please look now under Exhibit 1 under the heading hazards by the word caution, please read silently while I read aloud. Cautions eye irritation, period. Avoid contact with eyes of clothing, period. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
You mentioned that people should wear protective clothing that covers exposed skin, yes?
Mm-hmm.
Because
And
you are aware
that is that a yes?
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes.
Thank you.
Because you are aware that your pesticide can be dangerous to use, yes?
All pesticides are dangerous to use. That's a general fact.
Ms. Doncourt, is that
I'm sorry, you just
is that a yes?
Sorry, you just cut out. Could you?
Yeah, so my question, is that a yes or no?
Yes, that all pesticides can be dangerous.
Your pesticide, yes, okay. Well, moving
My
on.
pesticide?
I'm sorry. So do you want me to repeat the question?
Well, are you referring to pesticides or are you referring to Drufo?
To Drufo, your pesticide.
Yes, well, all pesticides can be dangerous, but Drufo isn't carcinogenic.
But you've been saying that your pesticide has little to no risk, yes?
Yeah.
And invite your attention to Exhibit 1 again, and under the heading User Safety Recommendations, please read along silently as I read aloud that first paragraph. As with any spray fertilizer, utilize protective clothing that covers exposed skin, or N95 face mask is recommended. Following manufacturer's instructions for cleaning/maintaining. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
Wouldn't the same safety recommendations have to include with a spray fertilizer?
Wait, what's your question?
Wouldn't the same safety recommendations have to include dry fertilizer?
Dry fertilizer?
Yes, dry fertilizer.
It's a spray fertilizer.
I'm sorry, my apologies, spray fertilizer.
Yeah, well, we put this recommendation on every single Lush fertilizer
So
product.
you recommend using a respirator, yes?
Yeah, this is what this is recommendations.
And you also recommend using an N95 mask.
Yep.
But the respirator will be more effective, correct?
Yes.
So you recommend both, knowing that the respirator is more effective than the N95, correct?
Yes.
All right, well, let's start talking more about money, Ms. Doncourt. You could have prevented any risk of cancer by baking your product.
Objection relevance.
And the objection is, I'm sorry. Well, the objection is relevance of, could I have the question again, Ms. Flores?
Yeah, I'm asking, you could have prevented any risk of cancer by baking your product.
On baking, okay. Are we done with Exhibit 1?
Yes, we are.
All right, let's get rid of Exhibit 1. What I'm going to do here before we go any further is both sides have had some significant technical problems here, and both sides are getting a little slim on their time. What I'm going to do is to add 2 minutes on both sides here, both the direct and the cross. So if the timekeepers could add 2 minutes to both sides, I think we've had, over the course of the trial, we've had enough glitches here that I think we're going to get this done. Both sides can get their case done, but I think another 2 minutes would make that much more comfortable for everybody. So please add 2 minutes on both sides. Ms. Flores, you may continue. The question about baking.
Yes, Your Honor.
Let's see, we've got a question on baking, and Ms. Bouchard, your objection was on relevance, is that correct?
Could you repeat the question,
No,
please?
let's have the let's just have the question again, and if you wish to make an objection, you may.
Yes.
All right, you could have prevented any risk by baking your product, yes?
Yes. You know, there's always that little
Objection.
risk.
Wait, was
We don't
that the
know for
question?
sure, but the
That was
risk.
the question, yes.
I'm sorry, the objection is what?
I thought, didn't the plaintiff or have a question about baking or the money?
No, the
Oh, about
product.
baking. Baking the product was the question.
My apologies.
Okay, Ms. Doncourt, do you need the question repeated?
No, thank you, Your Honor.
Go right ahead then and answer.
You know what? We could have eliminated that very
Yes or no,
tiny.
Doncourt?
What?
I just need a yes or no.
I'm sorry, Ms. Doncourt may answer as she will. If there is some problem with that, if it is not a yes or no question, she may answer as she will. At this point, I won't confine her to yes or no if she wishes to expand on her answer. Ms. Doncourt, you may continue.
Thank you, Your Honor. So there is that very little risk. Yes, we could have baked the Drufo to end that very little risk, but like I said, because of the scientific evidence we were given, we decided that that money should be put elsewhere, and that risk was so small. And if they followed these user recommendations, then we would be okay because that risk was so tiny, as you've heard all throughout the case today. So no, we didn't bake our Drufo, but we didn't do it because we wanted
And
to
I'm
harm
going
people. We
to
did
stop you now. You're starting to run on, Ms. Doncourt. You have answered the question.
My
The
apologies.
floor is
My
proceed.
apologies. Personal.
Thank you, Your Honor. So in fact, this is what your own scientists recommended, right? To break your product.
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question? You glitched a little.
This is what your scientists recommended to bake your product. Is that correct?
It was a further safety recommendation, but not
Is that a
necessary.
yes?
Yeah, it wasn't necessary.
Thank you. Now, let's see. Your Honor, I'm now going to show opposing counsel what has been marked as Exhibit 8 for identification. Permission to show the witness what has been marked as Exhibit 8.
You may.
Thank you. All right, so Ms. Donkor, I have just shown you what has been previously, what has been previously marked as Exhibit 8. Do you recognize this?
That's Exhibit 7. Oh, never mind.
Do you recognize this?
Yeah, I made it. Yeah, I made it.
Okay, so what is this then?
This is the profit, an estimated profit sheet of our products if we were to bake it or if we weren't supposed to bake, or if we weren't baking it.
When you began helping this ledger, was this something you used to relay on to track the profitability?
Are you asking if I use this sheet to check profits?
Yes.
I mean, yes, that's why I created it. It's an anticipate profits sheet, yeah.
So this company frequently tracks their financial spendings, right?
Well, as does every company.
Is this a complete and accurate depiction of the report?
Yes.
Is it altered in any way?
No.
Your Honor, plaintiff moves for the entry of Exhibit A into evidence. Its authenticity has been stipulated and its accuracy has been shown.
And Ms. Bouchard, any objection to 8?
No objection, Your Honor.
8 is in. Ms. Flores, you may continue.
Thank you. So this was about this Exhibit A. You were, how do I say this? Sorry, let me ask my question. So your scientists recommended, no, I'm so sorry, I'm getting confused. All right, so again, I may ask, and you chose not to bake this product because it was expensive, right?
No, not because it was expensive, because there was little risk to it.
This is about 250,000 annually, adding 2% each year to that.
Yeah, that money is the company's money. That's what they would have made.
And the 2.6 million was the amount you saved in total.
Correct. The company saved in total, not me personally.
Oh, 2.6 million, not to spend it
Time.
and to not be profitable, correct?
And we have, time has been called. The question was asked within time. Ms. Bouchard, you may answer. I'm sorry, Ms. Bouchard. Ms. Doncourt, you may answer.
Could you please repeat the question, Ms. Flores?
I'll allow the question to be re-asked even though we're out of time because the witness needs the question. So Ms. Flores, you may re-ask the question.
Thank you, Your Honor. You chose to not spend 2.6 million and eliminate all risk so that you could be profitable, correct?
You're saying I could be profitable? This is not my money. This is the company's money.
Is that a yes or a no?
It's a no. This isn't my money.
No further questions, Your Honor.
And Ms. Bouchard, redirect.
Yes, Your Honor.
And let's drop Exhibit 8 there. Thank you.
Okay. Ms. Doncourt, what are some of your company's environmental protocols that you have spent your time and money on, company's money on?
Well, like I said, we give 10% of our profits annually to environmental charities. We also have created a product that is better environmentally. And this fertilizer allows doesn't only help the environment, it helps the people that are using it. Using this fertilizer, you actually have to use less fertilizer than the normal fertilizer anyone else would buy. Our Lush fertilizer allows you to have the product for longer.
And Ms. Doncourt, I think you've answered the question. Let's try not to expand too much beyond the question. Ms. Bouchard, you may ask another question.
Ms. Doncourt, why do you contribute to those charities?
I contribute to those charities because I genuinely believe that our company is able to help people and help the world. We've done so many amazing things. The UN has recognized us. I've gotten many awards for our charitable donations and our fertilizer as well, for donating that profit and for helping the environment through our fertilizer. That's our goal here.
Thank you, Your Honor. No further questions.
And we are out of time for recross. So the case stands, unless you have time, Ms. Bouchard, do you have any additional witnesses?
The defense has no more witnesses, Your Honor.
Do you wish to close your case?
Yes, Your Honor, the defense wishes to close our case.
Okay, the case stands submitted or the evidence stands submitted. We'll now have closing arguments, and give me just a moment. Why am I having a problem? Oh, I see what's wrong. There we go. For the plaintiff, I have Mr. Maestas giving closing. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, that is correct.
And Ms. Kraft will be giving closing for the defense.
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Okay, Mr. Maestas, you may proceed. If you may, at this time, if you wish, reserve any of your time specifically for rebuttal, in which case the timekeeper will tell you when your primary argument is done. If you don't wish to do that, any time remaining during your primary argument of your allotted time will be automatically available for rebuttal, either way you'd like.
Yes, Your Honor, we'd like to reserve the time after my closing for rebuttal.
Okay, so just whatever is left, and if none is left, then there's no rebuttal. If you do have time left, there will be rebuttal if you wish. You may proceed.
Your Honor, may it please the court, jury, and opposing counsel. Lush was rushed. Today, we have heard the story of a woman whose life has been taken away because she used a product called Drufo that was rushed by Lush Fertilizers into the market. Today, we heard from the CEO of Lush Fertilizers herself, Blake Doncourt, and she has told you that there were concerns of Drufo being carcinogenic, as she was copied in the email that expressed these concerns. We have heard that Lush Fertilizer could have prevented any of these risks of it being carcinogenic by baking its product. However, you have also heard that Lush was going to save millions of dollars by not baking its product. Lush had investor funding that demanded profitability, and for that reason, they chose not to bake their product and thus put the lives of people who use their product on the line. Today, we also heard from the sibling of Dakota Weirs, Skylar Weirs. Skylar has told you that they are an expert on modern agritech. However, this is whilst simultaneously never having attended college nor worked for an agritech company. The only experience is a collection of articles in a magazine that they never name their articles. Their articles are not peer reviewed, and the sources for these articles are ambiguous at best. So we ask that the jury please take all these facts into consideration. Finally, we heard from Dr. Devin Williams. This witness has told you that they are not a part of the original testing team. This witness has told you that they were rushed into a promotion only to fill a widening hole within the company. This witness wants you to believe that they are an expert based on their testimony, but they never published their own studies saying that Drufo had zero correlation to cancer and does not mention the studies done in 2003. This witness, rushed by their employer, can only provide you with rushed in-house research, and according to their own testimony today, that was, I quote, negligent. Lush was rushed. You've also heard from our own witnesses. Ms. Dakota Weirs has explained how using Lush fertilizer for her job at Haven Landscaping caused her to develop non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. They have also explained that this outcome has cost them their precious scholarship to Juilliard and ended their streak of positive community service. Carson Durst described the research that she did while working at the company after her promotion, in which she raised concerns of a possible danger of Drufo being carcinogenic. And she expressed these concerns to higher ups within the company. Furthermore, she described how the management at Lush ignored these concerns and kept this known dangerous product on the market. Finally, we have Dr. Rogers and how she analyzed Drufo's chemical makeup, and through her own study concluded that Drufo does indeed increase the chance of developing non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. Dr. Rogers told you, members of the jury, that Lush rushed its product to the market without sufficient studies on its safety. We have the burden of proof. We have the burden of proving by a preponderance of the evidence, or that it was more likely than not that Lush was negligent in today's case. These facts clearly show that 1, Drufo was indeed included in Lush fertilizer. 2, there was a risk because Lush knew of possible carcinogenic effects within Lush, never warned consumers of these risks, and did not include any warning on the packaging that talked about these risks that they knew about. 3, Miss Weirs was expected to use Lush fertilizer as an employee of Haven Landscaping. And 4, that Miss Weirs had damages that were caused by the defendant's negligence while the product was being used in a manner the defendant should reasonably have expected. From this evidence, it is clear that Lush fertilizer is to blame for giving Miss Weirs non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. We ask that you allow Miss Weirs to repair her broken life by siding with her on this case by agreeing that Lush was rushed. Thank you. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Ms. Kraft, closing for the defense.
Yes, Your Honor. Thank you for being here today to hear this unfortunate and tragic case. As we found, Lush is a conscientious company at the forefront of developing new technology to protect the environment and reduce the need for fertilizer. It followed all regulations in the development of its fertilizer, which uses Drufo. Sadly, young Dakota Weirs became sick with non-Hodgkin lymphoma. But as we have found, there is no more of a link between Lush's product than any other fertilizer and cancer. The only thing that has been found is that Lush's product is safer for the environment than any other fertilizer is. Lush and its dedicated employees should not be punished for their innovative product. Let's review the evidence presented in this case. You heard from our expert, Dr. Williams, there is no data connecting Drufo to an elevated risk of non-Hodgkin lymphoma more than any other fertilizer. Blake Doncourt, the CEO of Lush, also stated that she was never aware of any concern that Drufo was dangerous. She confirmed that Lush followed all federal and state laws in the packaging of its fertilizer, including the decision not to bake it. Most importantly, Lush used a safety recommendation instructing users to wear a mask and protective clothing. Lush reasonably expected users to do so. Skylar, Dakota's own twin, informed us that virtually all pesticides contain poisonous carcinogens. Skylar also never found any link between Drufo, specifically to cancer, with any level of certainty. While plaintiffs, Dr. Rogers, attempted to use their own study that was never peer-reviewed or replicated in their attempt to discredit Drufo, our expert, Dr. Williams, pointed out the serious flaws in the study. Namely, Rogers failed to study any subjects that only used Drufo. She had subjects that used all various types of fertilizers. Dr. Rogers admitted all fertilizers and pesticides contain toxins that are designed to kill. Finally, there's Dakota's own testimony. She admitted that she used multiple landscaping products. She stated many of the products she used had warnings on them, including Lush's own safety recommendations to wear protective clothing and a mask. Additionally, she admits that her boss always told her to wear a mask and protective clothing. He didn't tell her sometimes, he didn't tell her once in a while. She testified he always told her to wear a face mask, long sleeves, and pants. Sadly, Dakota chose to ignore her boss and the warning she saw on various labels. She refused to wear any protective gear because, as she stated, she wanted to feel the wind on her face. She had the capability to both read the recommendations and follow them. In conclusion, while the plaintiff's medical condition is tragic, it is not due to any negligence by Lush. Plaintiff failed to prove by a preponderance of the evidence that Drufa causes non-Hodgkin lymphoma. Jury instruction number 2 requires plaintiff to prove that the Lush fertilizer should have reasonably expected users to ignore the safety recommendations on their product. Blake Doncourt testified that Lush reasonably expected users to follow those safety recommendations. And the plaintiff always refused to do so. This brings us to jury instruction number 8, which tells you the plaintiff's failure to follow the safety recommendations is comparative fault. We may never know what caused plaintiff's horrible disease, but what we do know is that it was reasonably expected she would follow and wear these protective clothing that were recommended. Even if you decide that Drufo contributed to plaintiff's injuries, she completely caused those herself. For the foregoing reasons, we ask you to find in favor of the defendant. Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you. And could we have a time check on the rebuttal argument for the plaintiff, please? I know there's less than a minute, but just so that Mr. Mace just knows what he's got.
You have 55 seconds.
30 seconds. Okay.
55.
I'm sorry, once again?
55.
55 seconds. Mr. Maces, would you like to have rebuttal argument?
Yes, please, Your Honor.
You've got 55 seconds. Go right ahead.
The defense will try and claim that Rogers is not credible and her study is not credible. However, this all comes from Dr. Williams, who, may I repeat, does not have their own published study, and as I said in the testimony, rushed their own in-house research and was, I quote, negligent. So for right now, Dr. Rogers is the only published study on Drufo's correlation, and so it is preferable. The defense also claims that Dakota caused herself to obtain non-Hodgkin's lymphoma through her use of Lush. However, they were the ones who ignored the concerns. So the negligence is on them because they produced a cancerous product without warning their consumers. And finally, the defense will try and claim that it is for the environment. However, as Doncourt said, this is for big green lawns, not the environment, because big green lawns are the American dream. However, we have to ask ourselves, is cancer also a part of the American dream? Thank you.
Thank you very much. The case stands submitted. I'm going to ask our scoring panelists to reactivate their video when they have completed their scoring cards and submitted them. I'm going to do the same here just a second. Make sure I've got it. Yep, I fill in the final numbers here. Okay, until I see my scorekeepers, I'll amuse you. I can't make any comments until then, simply because I'm not allowed to. But this was a damn good round. Let me put it that way. You folks are extraordinarily good. It's a very close round, and I have scoring panelists back. So I'd like all of our competitors, the witnesses and the attorneys, back on screen, just so that our scoring panelists can make some brief comments directly to you. Yep, you guys did a good job, both sides. This was, we went a little long because you had a lot of objections and a lot of good responses, and it went on a little long there, but that's what this whole thing is about. So Ms. Capel, if you'd like to make a few brief comments, please go ahead.
Sure. Yeah, I'd like to echo the judge's sentiments. Is really excellent. It's great to see, you guys thinking on your feet. A lot of critical thinking that went into this, even critical thinking on your feet. That's, even something in, the legal and in my industry, when we're looking to hire people, which is farther off in the future for you, but to really have those critical thinking skills. And that's something we talk about at the paralegal program at Pikes Peak Community College, which I'm on their board for that program as well. So definite, kudos for you on that. I think, some folks stood out to me, Emma Ryan and Avery Martin. Excellent characters. You guys really, got into your characters and, thought on your feet. Ms. Flores, great work as an attorney, and also Ms. Bouchard really stood out to me as well. As being able to really have knowledge of the case and kind of just working from what your memory was and being able to handle objections without getting flustered. Also handling the technical glitches that happens in the real world too. I'm sure Judge can attest to that as well, since with COVID, a lot of the courtroom stuff went to virtual as well. And overall, professionalism was really good. Definitely, I don't really have any critique other than just, try to maintain professionalism at all time. And, the thought bubble is always a good thing to have, instead of kind of letting something go out loud and really letting other people see or, hear your reactions, trying to hold those back a little bit more. But otherwise, really great job. And I'm really excited to be part of this.
Thank you. And is it Deputy or Detective Gillespie?
Your Honor, it would be an investigator, but essentially it's detective.
That's all right. Deputy Gillespie. We are glad to have non-attorneys doing this, believe me. And because you are really the jury that these people would be talking to if this were a real case, because no attorney would ever get allowed to be on the jury in this case. So you're the real jury here. So do you have any observations?
I appreciate those words, Your Honor. This is my second time scoring one of these competitions, one of these mock trials. I will say that I am thoroughly glad that I am not actually on a jury hearing this civil trial, because both teams obviously very apparently put in a lot of work, a lot of thought, a lot of critical thinking, a lot of persuasive arguments on both sides that made both the plaintiff and the defense, they made very coherent arguments, and it would be, from my standpoint, very difficult to decide essentially who the money goes to. Brief points. I don't want to hold people up here for too long. I'm sure the teams want to get into their debriefs and breathe a sigh of relief that 4, 5, 6 months of work is finally completed. Sienna, I thought it was excellent that you made sure to show sympathy to the plaintiff. The fact that they had cancer, it's a terrible thing, because you do have these jury members, and they're going to have their own thoughts, they're going to have their own biases and stuff like that. And I think it was excellent that you established, or attempted to establish, I thought you established that, yes, we are defending this huge company, but we are very sorry that you have cancer. We simply don't think that our product caused that cancer, but we do express regret that you have it. Also, let me see. Haven, I don't know if this was just an excellent performance or if you were genuinely surprised by Margot's answer that I think it was, you brought up some European Union study that Drufo caused or was linked to carcinogens or something like that. If it was a genuine surprise or if it was just simply excellent performance, I love that you paused for a second, a bit of theater, being like, wait, you didn't study? I thought you were supposed to be the subject matter expert in this stuff. And then you immediately started diving in very respectfully, but you started pointing out to the jury that, this doctor, it doesn't appear that she completely investigated or educated herself on other studies that could point out that this particular chemical could cause cancer or something like that. So good job there. However, just because I highlighted that stuff doesn't mean that nobody else did good things. This has been thoroughly entertaining. I think this was an excellent use of my time this morning, hearing you guys go into this stuff. And I mean, just spot on. I have an educated layperson sort of knowledge base about legal stuff. I'm nowhere near the educational level of like Ms. Kapler or Judge Wheeler when it comes to legal stuff. But any sort of objection that, you know, when I'm listening to the testimony, I'm like, oh, you know, that probably sounds like, you know, bam, right off the bat, one of you guys were already bringing it up. And it was just really entertaining to see how engaged you guys were in this. I just have nothing but high marks, and regrettably, I do have to pick a winner. And yeah, but really phenomenal job, guys. I can't speak highly of this enough. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll be brief. I've done, in addition to doing, this is my 15th year, and each year I do all 4 rounds. But I will tell you that so far this year, I did the entire Denver rounds, all 4. I've done 3 rounds now in the Arapahoe County. As to this year, that's 14 teams I've seen. And I will tell you, you are the 2 best teams I've seen. You are extraordinarily good. Both witnesses, I'm speaking attorneys and witnesses across the board. You're the best 2 teams I've seen. That's just me, but I've got some context to give you on that evaluation. I would say one thing across the board, each of the attorneys, when you're doing cross, and because every one of you did it, so I'm not singling anyone out, but every one of you did it. As you are asking those leading questions, every one of you zeroed in on saying afterwards, correct. And it gets a little monotonous. Change it up a little. There are lots of ways to ask that same question, such as, wouldn't you agree with me that, instead of saying the question and then saying correct? But you can say correct, you can say right, you can say, wouldn't you agree with me? You can say, isn't it true that? There are lots of ways where it doesn't get boring, where it's not. Now, sometimes when you're asking a series of questions that are linked, and there were some of those where you can say, it was blue, right? It was a sunny day, right? If those questions are linked and you can ask them in machine gun style like that, it's appropriate, or it's not boring, or it's not tedious to say correct, 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 correct. But if you're asking all these different types of questions, try to change it up a little bit so that it doesn't sound like you're just saying the same thing automatically, correct, 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 after every question. Change it up a little to, you know, wouldn't you agree with me that, or isn't it correct that, or something like that. Anyway, that would be my only comment. You folks are really good. So get some lunch. Not much time to do it, but get something to eat before the next round. Hopefully we'll see you again. And so I'd like to eat.
Before you knock off, Judge, on behalf of the Arapahoe County Bar Association, I just wanted to let you folks know, all of our volunteers, including Judge Wheeler, thank you for giving your time to the Bar Association and your hard work. I was able to hear your comments to these kids, and they were so helpful and so meaningful. So thank you so much. To the student participants, I want you to know that Judge John Wheeler is probably the best judges who's ever taken the bench in Arapahoe County, perhaps the state of Colorado. So you were very, very lucky to have Judge Wheeler preside over this round. I practiced law in front of him when I was a lawyer, and I know how good he is. So his comments are deeply meaningful. Please take them with you. They're very important. Other than that, thank you all so much. Judge Wheeler's right. Y'all enjoy your very brief break. Judge Wheeler, is there anything else you wanted to say to them, sir?
And that's Judge White, and my check will be in the mail to you.
All right, folks, unless Judge Wheeler has anything else, again, thank you to our volunteers. Kids, good luck, and you're not kids, you're young adults. Good luck in your last round.
Thank you so much.